Hey, welcome, Stunthanger fans. It's Rusty here, and it's Friday night again, February 7th, 2020. And welcome. I hope everything goes smoothly tonight. We had a little glitch the other night with my having to swap in and out new computer equipment. So we're going to do a sound test first thing as soon as somebody comes in and joins me tonight. And hopefully, we won't have any echoing problems. But I think I can stop it if it does. And anyway, all the links are in the usual places. That means that to come in and visit with us live with your camera and microphone, you can go to the Stunthanger control line forums and the At the Bench thread, which is on the main forum page, as if you were going to go to the open forum, but not. Scroll down, look for another called live streaming. Under that is the At the Bench thread. Post the links at 9:40, which is the moment the show starts every evening, and the title contains today's date, so should be easy to find. Click on that and come in and visit us. And if you would prefer to just watch it on YouTube, you can communicate with us on the Stunthanger YouTube channel and communicate via the text chat box where you can post your questions, answers, opinions, and whatever else you brung. And we'll try to incorporate that into our conversations here. And let's see, what else is going on? Just try to keep it family room friendly. That's what we do around here. Hey, we got two YouTubers out there. Gary Sinclair and Bob Bishop are out there. Hey, guys. Glad to see y'all jumping in already. And let's see. Oh, Bob says, sadly, just here for another hi bye. Sorry, I missed y'all Monday. That's okay, Bob. Didn't have anything super big on Monday, just your average video show. But hang out when you can, come back if you can, and try not to work too hard. And we'll post it in reruns. By the way, sometimes I mention it. The reruns are all available in chronological order on my YouTube channel, which is not Stunthanger, but it's called Rusty K. And if you look in the comments below, or the description below this video, that's where the link to both Stunthanger and Rusty K YouTube channels are. So they're right there on the front face of my Rusty K YouTube page. So you can watch all the reruns anytime. You don't have to be here for us live if you can't. I understand everybody doesn't live on the same schedule. And also, while you're in live, the super chat text box, the super chat is at the bottom of the text box on the YouTube channel while you watch. If you want to click that and give us a donation, then that'll help Sparky keep his server fees and all his equipment up to date so that he can broadcast live and send us videos and build threads, all kinds of interesting stuff on Sparky's channel. You can learn a lot. If you forget a lot like I do, you can go back and relearn it from there. Okay, Bob says he's off. See you later, Bob. Okay. And so I hope Bob doesn't work too hard tonight. Friday night, man, that's tough. Hey, Jack Snavely just dropped in. Hello, Jack. Good to see you. So we're getting a good YouTube crowd started here and waiting for somebody to come in live so we can do my sound test. I hope the heck y'all can hear us. I'm sure somebody would have told me if I wasn't making any noise by now. I'm just not sitting there chuckling and watching my lips move. But the problem that I had was this past Monday, we had an echo in here. I had previously fried my old 15-year-old Logitech sound system, 5.1 sound system on the computer, and I, in a rush, snatched up the little mini tower Bluetooth speaker that I use out in the shop to listen to music when I'm working, and put it next to the computer, paired it up, and it seemed to be working fine, but the settings somehow got scrambled, and it was acting as the speaker and microphone simultaneously on Monday night. And so It sounded okay to me, but everybody else was hearing themselves speak twice. And so uh, I finally got it fixed and swore I would not change anything, never touch it. And lo and behold, Tuesday, I installed a whole bunch of new equipment with my computer system to boost my internet broadband from 25 megabits all the way up to 100 megabits. And the system settings all changed, and the sound system didn't work. So I've redone everything. So as soon as I ask, as soon as I say hi to John Miller and tell him to say testing 1 2 3, we'll know maybe whether we're getting that echo problem or not. So, John, you're on. Good evening,
Oh,
buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and how are you?
I'm
No
doing
echo.
well.
No
I don't
echo.
hear any echo. We'll have to wait and see how it does as more people stack up. But uh, uh, that's good. I was hoping I wouldn't have to screw with this thing because I can sit here when I'm not doing a show and figure out stuff and try things, but when I'm in the middle of a show, I go into panic mode and I don't have time to interpret anything. I just start wildly clicking settings, and it's like, God, my head's going to explode. I lucked up and got kind of working Monday night, but that was discouraging. But
Well,
anyway, I've got new bandwidth, so I don't know if it makes any difference in the way you see my picture, but it should make a difference in how it records to YouTube, and also how stable I am. It looks like I got a red signal thing in my little picture up there. It says um, bit rate poor or connection poor. So go figure. I don't know. I know I'm running at 100 megabits though, because it surfs really fast.
you can. The trouble is, you can change all kinds of parts to everything, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. It's like,
Yeah,
uh, it's like cats hunting a canaries. Some days it's chicken, and some days it's feathers.
yeah. Well, it's Friday. We can chill out. Hopefully, it'll be a chill evening, and nothing nothing harrowing will happen to the equipment. So, Gary Sinclair asks a question. He says, "Do all on live broadcasts see yourself on the screen?" In my experience, ex- I heard an echo. That's a very low one, though. In my experience, when I'm talking, I don't see myself except for right now when it's just the
Sure.
two of us. When more people come in, then the screen will be black while I'm talking, and I don't see myself. John, do you see yourself when you talk?
No, I gotta let the dog out.
Okay. Yeah, I heard a faint echo. Echo. And when John walked away, I don't hear it anymore. That's There's probably a little feedback from the speakers. I could turn my microphone down a little bit. I'm not going to touch it unless it starts interfering with the stuff.
I can't hear any echo right now yet. So if that helps.
Yeah, I don't either. I heard a faint echo, but that was that probably was the speakers just feeding back through the microphone a little bit, but nothing like what we had the other night. We'll see how it goes when people stack up and we get 3 or 4 people in here. It'll show its colors.
How many
What have
YouTubers you
you been
got?
doing this week? What you say?
How many YouTubers have you got?
Right now, let's see. I've got 3 or 4 of them that are letting themselves be known, and YouTube says I've got
Cool.
nine concurrent viewers, and
We
it
got
says
the
we have
echo back. We got the echo back.
oh. How bad is it? Is it pretty bad?
Well, it's you can hear it clearly, and it's not as loud as it was the other day, but it is there.
Okay, let me try one thing here. I'm gonna open my volume control and I'm going to make change right now. Tell me if anything changed. Did you hear any? You say something and see if you hear yourself echo.
Oh, okay. I can do this. 1, 2, 3. No echo.
Okay. I heard myself echo after I asked you to do that. Let me make the change back to where it was and see if it improves or not. Okay, now I'm back to where I was before I started. And I still hear myself in the background a little bit. I'm
About
going
1,
to
2,
turn the
3.
speakers.
Yeah, I hear
I don't
myself.
hear anything back there.
Yeah, I heard myself that time.
Okay. I just turned my speaker around backwards so that it won't get to the microphone as easily. We'll see if that helps any.
Okay.
If it's, I'm going to turn my speakers down a little too. That might help too. I don't have to have them this loud. Okay, testing 1, 2, 3.
I don't hear anything from you.
No problem. I
I don't
didn't
hear
hear
anything from
anything
me.
either. I think I just had my speakers turned up too loud. Oh, Bill Cole says, hello, I fly control line, free flight, and RC. I do have webcam, but just learning to use it. Welcome, Bill. If you want, if you're a member of the Stunthangar control line forums, then you can log into Stunthangar and come in live with us if you want to give it a try tonight. Or if you just want to hang out on the tube, then that's fine too. But in any case, welcome. And Jeff Riley. Hey, Jeff.
Jeff's probably freezing there in Southern California. It's got to be all of
Freezing?
80. It's got to be all of 80 degrees where he's at.
Uh, well, let me tell you what, it was Chicago cold here in Columbia today because the wind was blowing steady at 25 miles an hour plus gusts. And it was about 41 degrees, but man, it cuts through your clothes, your jacket, and it's just bone chilling when it blows cold like that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I know 41 degrees doesn't sound much like much to you guys from the north, but man, it hurts here. And I went to Chick-fil-A for lunch when I left dialysis today. I always go to get Chick-fil-A, and the girl standing outside taking orders was talking to me, and she said she was from Chicago. That's why I thought of Chicago when I said it. She said, this reminds me of weather back home in Chicago. Jeff Riley said, yeah, it's cold here. It's about 64. It was beautiful yesterday. It was about 75 degrees in Columbia yesterday, raining and flooding. The yard's still flooded. I did not even go out to the shop today. I don't even want to look in the window out there. I'll worry about it this weekend. But anyway, good evening, Denny. How you doing tonight?
Real good. How about you guys? Good to see you again.
Good to see
Okay.
you. I got to go let the dog in now.
Alrighty.
Okay. How does the sound tonight, Denny?
You're coming through. Both you guys coming through loud and clear. How about me?
No echoes? No echoes or anything?
No echoes. Nothing. We're looking good.
Good, good. I I had to redo all of my settings because after I solved the problem Monday and I upgraded my bandwidth, all the new equipment, and the system settings changed by themselves, and so I had to redo all the audio stuff. But it seems to be working okay now.
Yeah. Yeah. You're sounding really good. In fact, John's dog sounds kind of loud right now, but other than that, it's all right. So.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We all got noisy dogs. Steve's got a noisy dog too, and my dog chewed up my stunt hanger calendar. I'm going to
Oh no.
have to kill him.
That's it. Time for a new
Actually,
dog.
he only chewed up. Actually, he only chewed up Tom's picture, and so I'll break that news to Tom tonight. Tom Reynolds holding his blade, and he chewed the tail off of chewed the tail off of Tom's plane.
Oh no, I don't know. I think I don't know. If you want Tom to keep coming back, you better not tell him about that. So what that? Keep that a
Yeah, how you
secret. He
doing?
doesn't need to know, Rusty. It's a need to know.
Yeah, I'll keep it a secret now that I've said it on the internet.
That's it. That's it.
Hey, Danny,
Yes, sir.
I was over at the Brodak .com trying to see that uh, what do you call it? The electric conversion for the little Ellie.
Uh-huh.
They don't have it listed on there yet, apparently.
You kidding?
So
They had it up there a little bit ago. All right, I'll go haggle with them again tomorrow and see if I can figure out what's going on.
yeah, I'd actually like to order one of those so that I could, in fact, maybe two of them, one for the little Ellie kit I got and one for the Vanguard. So that way I can put it, I can mess with it and get it in the drawing correctly as well, since it's an electric, designed to be an electric airplane.
Yeah, well, it might save you a little bit of inventiveness or whatever. You maybe adapt it or whatever. I should probably just send you the CAD file on it. That might help you out too.
That would help out a lot. Yeah, I've been working on that thing. I extended the fuselage aft almost to the aft part of the elevators.
Little Ellie, BH 1969, 1099.
Yeah,
I see it. It's
you
there.
see it?
Yeah.
Why didn't I see it?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm blind.
Maybe. Oh, sorry. That was rude of me. So, no, it's out there. Number BH 1969. Take a peek at that. It's on the. Looks like it's on the last page. 3 pages of conversions. Looks like it's on the last page.
Oh, I was looking at the design pages, the ones that show.
Go to electric accessories.
All right.
And then conversion on that. It has a list of conversion kits. There's about 3 dozen of them now. And then it'll come up on like the 3rd page of electric. There's like 36 of them now. So.
Wow, you've been a busy boy.
Well, like I say, every one of those usually results in like a half-built airplane. All right, so that's why my basement, my shop is a complete wreck right now. But I gotta get rid of that. I've finished some of the airplanes, but I haven't finished all of them. I haven't finished most of them really. So.
Well, you know what'll happen if you don't? Your nephew and brother will be over there. Well, he's older than you, so yeah. Anyway, they'll be over there cleaning your place out when you're gone.
Are you kidding? If that's all it takes, I'd invite hell. I'd send them a plane ticket. Get them down here or up here or whatever else. They'd clean out my basement.
Oh yeah.
No, I got a lot of them. Things you work on and stuff like that. I got like a half-built Thunderbird, and I like the later Thunderbird, the Thunderbird 2, the inverted engine one. But of course, Brodak makes the upright engine one. So I did the conversion for that, and it's kind of cool actually. I put the ESC up in the hood, where the engine cylinder is supposed to be and stuff. But the airplane itself is kind of a blah. I don't really. Doesn't make my heart go pitter patter, I guess the best way to put it. And so I got this, Thunderbird. And the same thing with some of the others, and it's like, it's just don't know what to do with it. So
that smoothie that Brodak has, I sent him a file, just an addendum that he could put in the kit if he wanted.
Yes, I
converted
saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah. See, if I was making a smoothie for myself, I would definitely want to do that.
Yeah.
Is I thought, well, both of them. I thought the T-Bird and the smoothie they looked more refined with the inverted engine than with the upright engine. I thought.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And the thing about the smoothie, they even dialed it up with things like exhaust stacks, and I'm a sucker for things like exhaust stacks. Pipes, baby, pipes.
Well,
it gave it a real nice purposeful look.
You guys have been talking about elliptical plane wings lately, and Is the Thunderbird an elliptical wing?
Not really. It's a
It's a
tapered
sort
wing
of
with,
a
yeah, it's
sort
and
of
both
a
the Smoothie and the Thunderbird are basically straight wings with elliptical wingtips, like the last third of the span or so is
Yeah, just
elliptical.
round tip.
Yeah, yeah. So it's somewhere
Yes.
in between a true elliptical and whatever. And so it's that's all good.
well,
So
yeah. Now the Vanguard is a true elliptical.
yes, yes. So one of the other things I liked about the T-Bird 2 is it had the over-under lead-outs on it, which I thought was a cool feature. And my dad built a couple of original designs. One in particular comes to mind and he used a Thunderbird 2 wing in it with the lead-outs and everything like that.
Uh-huh.
And the T-Bird 2 wing, of course, is just a little bit bigger than the T-Bird 1 also. A little more area, a little more span and stuff. Yeah, I could, if I'm going to duplicate my dad's airplane, I'd like to have a T-Bird 2 wing. And it could use a T-Bird 1 wing and nobody would know except me, But
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
how
Hi.
you doing?
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Doing
How
okay.
about good. How about type your the little three dots down at the bottom right. If you click that up at the top, you can type your name in. That way we all know what to call you.
Right now, you're a fellow Jitzer, so.
Yeah. Right now it says you're a fellow Jitster.
Okay, how do
You
I
see what
type
I'm
that in?
talking
I'm looking at select the sound, toggle camera, enable low
Right
band.
at the very top.
All the way
Select
at
the
the
sound
top, it
button.
says profile.
Hold on,
Let
I
me
don't
see.
think
Let me click mine.
Click
the
on that, and
three
you can
dots.
3 dots at the bottom right.
It says where it says manage video quality, it's right above that.
I don't see any of that stuff.
Well, that's all right, Walter. We
Yes,
know
I
who you
did.
are.
Yeah,
Okay,
what
well,
the
we
heck?
know who you are. Don't worry.
Are you
Yeah.
leaving?
No, I'm not even. No.
No. My beautiful wife is leaving.
Oh,
She's going
that
inside.
sweet thing you're married to there.
Yeah, I lucked out on that one.
Boy, you married up, I tell you.
As opposed to my first choice.
Yeah.
My first nightmare, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know
Sometimes
what I did here.
it takes a starter marriage.
Yeah, that's for another private conversation. Okay, I accidentally touched the screen, and I have all four of us in four separate cubes. How do I get back to the screen, the large screen?
Just tap on any
Down
one.
at the bottom right, touch those little four blocks again. You must have touched those.
Toggle camera? No.
No, farther over to the right than that. All the way at the right. They'll pop up. They won't pop up until you move over there. I don't know what it is on a touch screen. With a mouse, you just hover over it. And there at the bottom right, and it's four blocks. It looks like kids building blocks.
Hello,
I
Dennis.
hear myself echoing.
Good evening, everyone.
You know,
Is that Dennis Nunez that just
Sure
popped
is.
in? Yeah, that's Dennis Nunez.
hey,
He
Denny,
hasn't
I had
he hadn't become visible.
my best buddy, best flying
There
buddy.
you are. Hey Dennis, how you doing?
Doing fine.
My best flying buddy when I was a teenager had a T-Bird 1 with a Johnson Stud Supreme in it.
Mm-hmm.
And we lived close enough to where his place was, Johnson's place, and his dad knew him. So that engine was all custom modded and it had a beautiful stunt run. And yeah, if I ever do get another, I had a T-Bird too when I was a kid. But if I ever get another T-Bird, it'll be the number one, and I'm going to look for a Stunt Supreme to put in it.
Okay, I had heard that the Supreme was a real problem child as far as getting it to behave itself.
Well, yeah, but the one he had behaved itself very well,
Uh-huh.
But then High Johnson blessed it with his magic fingers or something.
Yeah. Okay. Now the other Johnson, the one with the angled exhaust and stuff like that,
The
had a few of those.
35.
They seem to run really nice.
They do.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys are talking about High Johnson. Can I just interject?
Say what?
I
Yeah.
said you're talking about the High Johnson motor. Can I interject something?
Yeah.
Last night I
Sure.
shot a High Johnson Spitfire for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got a guy wants it and provided me with the CAD files, and he said I can use it to make kits too.
That's a High
Fantastic.
Johnson Spitfire?
Yeah, remember the one that I scratch built years ago for Tony Drago
Yep.
that he
Yep.
never ended up keeping? He sold it before he got it home.
Hey, just out of curiosity, how many of those Sterling Spitfires have you sold?
To date,
Yeah.
I don't know. If I told you, you'd probably want royalties. Truth of the matter is, I've sold about 50 of them.
Well, I tell you, it was a good
Maybe
design.
60 actually, because the first run was 44.
Well,
44 was the
yeah,
first
well, we
run.
straightened out a lot of things on that kit, when we redrew it.
I know. Didn't you get one of them, Dennis, or your dad?
Got one for my dad, indeed. And
Yeah.
he never ended up building it. But yeah, it was one. I think we were on your first run on that. So
Yeah. And then it's because of you I made the Seafire.
that's it. The story on that, I guess I'll go into it. I had one of this when I was coming back. I built a Sterling Spit out of the Sterling kit, and even put a K&B Greenhead 35 in it, just like my dad had back in 1960, and didn't have really high expectations for it and everything like that. But the airplane absolutely floored me with how well it flew, and and the engine ran wonderfully and everything like that. And then you start looking at it and say, gee, I wonder if we could modernize it. It's got like 2 inches of wing, offset and real short fuselage and everything like that. And I had a chat with Walter after he had kitted his, and he had everything in CAD. And I says, can you do that for me? Can you give me 2 inside wings, so that it's equal span and lengthen the tail and stuff. And he was kind enough to do all of that, and brought out the Seafire as a modernized version, with if you will, more modern numbers on the same basic wing, which works remarkably well, especially in the wind. And
So you actually built it and flew it?
it's sitting in my rafters waiting for covering.
Oh, wow.
And it's been there for a long time. It's been and it's definitely on the list to finish this year, because I got to get that thing airborne. Such a good looking airplane. And mine's electric, which will be the last thing I think it needs. The finish wing and stuff. The electric will keep it from ever accelerating, and I would expect it'll perform even better than in the wind than my K&B powered version would. And I'm really optimistic it's going to be a killer airplane. So
Yeah, I
I've
think
sold
so.
a few of those.
yeah. Back. Let me disappear for a second, Walter. You may not have seen this. I'm going to go get a visual aid here.
You got a buddy over here.
Hey, guys.
Hey,
How are you?
hey, Walter,
Yeah.
did you get my cryptic message about getting a Vanguard cut?
Well, I haven't been on the email since yesterday. So if you sent it yesterday,
No, I
haven't.
sent it about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, I got that one.
Okay.
The one about cutting one next month.
Well, I'm still working on getting some things, working on the plans a little bit.
Okay.
As soon as I get that done and I'll get the. Do you want me to just generate the parts, or you want me to generate them like I normally do? Laid out on a sheet.
Actually, it'd be so much better for me if you could even put the laser brakes in it. Lay them
Don't
out
even
on
put
the
them.
sheets. Yeah,
Don't even put those in there. Huh? Oh yeah,
put them in.
I'll just generate the parts and I'll stack them on a sheet. I won't put them on anything else. They'll be there. You can choose which how you want to lay them out on your burner, your cut.
No, lay the parts out on the sheets. Do
Okay.
the laser brakes, and then I'll just put them on my board. My computer. My CAD board of the
Yeah.
table. I'll lay them out according to that.
All right.
And then cut away. It'll save me a whole lot of time.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So, well, I finished the toothpick, and I'm just waiting for orders to come in on that. And then, like I said, I just cut the High Johnson Spitfire. I'll be sending that out to the guy. And there's a few things I'd like to clean up in those files. I don't know if it's got something to do with he generated it in TurboCAD or a different CAD program, but a lot of the lines I have to reconnect. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all closed polylines, but some of them don't actually connect. So when I click on the part and go to move it over, because he didn't do the sheet setup, I only got part of the part. So I went over all the stuff and made sure that they were all connected and so on.
Yeah,
Which took a lot of time.
I was gonna say it makes a lot of extra work for you.
The one thing that I cannot do or figure out how to do, because I've been told it's easy, explode it, but I can't get them to explode. How do you break up a spline? How do you, because I can't even connect the spline to a polyline. It just connects.
I think I just use the explode command if I remember correctly. What do you do, Denny?
Same thing. I'm using Draft Site, and there's an explode command, and whenever I use it whenever I need it. Yeah.
I've got an explode command in AutoCAD, and I'll click on the part, the spline, and I go to explode, and it don't explode. What is this?
In AutoCAD, there's two types of splines. You have the spline element, is just that, and then you have a polyline, a lightweight polyline that you can convert to a spline.
I'm familiar with that.
If you convert the polyline to a spline, there's also a command to decurve it. And then you can break it, and then you just go back in and recurve it, the two different segments again.
Okay.
As far as the spline, a true spline element, I don't believe that can be exploded. It's a unique element.
Because I've got two, no disrespect to you, John, you were out of the game for a while. I had picked up two other guys that provided me with CAD files that they wanted cut, and they put stuff in 3D and then converted to 2D. And some of those parts or some of those lines are splines. I can't connect them. I can't explode them. And I literally have to redraw over them with a polyline.
Yeah.
And then I explode it. And then I do a spline. And then I make them go directly over the original spline. Then I reconnect it all. I explode that. And then I reconnect them as polylines. But I'm stumped with this polyline, a spline that I can't do anything with. It drives me nuts. Well, thanks for at least letting me know that I can't explode a spline, so to speak, putting it in simple terms.
Yeah, and I'll have to play with it because usually it will maintain the shape. Once you break it,
Right.
and then you recurve it, it usually will. But I've had some change. And then in some cases you can't do anything with it. You're sort of stuck with it.
My other question is, why do these splines or certain lines, why when you working in a program with a program for a long time, or when you first open it, why these lines, curves, all straight, distorted lines, and I actually have to refresh the open program? I mean, why does it do that?
I don't quite understand your question.
You
Okay,
mean the
I'll
curves
open up.
aren't smooth?
I'll open up. I'll open up a any given kit, any given file, and sometimes when I first open up a program, open up the program, some of the curves, like if you take a rib, okay, the front part of the rib, instead of it being a nice smooth curve, it's a jagged straight, and then I'll just reset. I'll refresh
Do you
the open.
do
What?
you
I'll
use
resample it.
do you use regen?
Yeah,
RE?
I read gen, and then it goes back to its curve.
Yeah,
That's-
there's a command in AutoCAD called view res, VIEWREZ. And what that does, that controls curved entities inside your drawing session. If you change that to a higher number, in AutoCAD, I think the maximum is like 20,000. What 20,000 is, I have no idea. But that will smooth it out. Once you save the drawing and you reopen it, then they will come in smooth. Chances are your view res setting is set really low. Probably default is like 100. And so all your curved objects have they're jagged, as it were.
Right.
They're not curved.
Right. Okay.
Okay, I guess I always thought it just had something to do with the amount of video memory you had or something like that. It can be smooth, but maybe it doesn't absolutely open that way, but you can smooth it easy enough.
In
the
the
secondary operation.
old computers, it was an issue with the graphic display.
See, that's another problem. Because of my machinery, my vinyl cutter, my laser cutter, my actual plan printer, my plotter, those are all old. Not old, they're not super old. They can't work with anything over XP. Okay, my laser is now going to be 10 years old. Come April, it'll be 10 years old. Well, I couldn't go past XP with that, and I couldn't go past 2006 on AutoCAD. It had to be an even year, otherwise it won't work. And when Bob Kruger was alive, and I think you'll attest to this, John, I was working in 2005.
Right.
Which was going against the instructions of the laser. And Kruger said, as long as we save it down to an even year, we'll have no problems with the machine. And for the most part, I didn't. But there were times where the machine would just flat out go freaky and jam up against the sidewall and just start bang, 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 bang. And I'd have to hit the emergency kill switch because just hitting stop wouldn't work. And we later found out that it was, in fact, because I was using 05, even though I saved it as a 2000, because anytime I ever get a file from anyone, I request it saved in AutoCAD 2000. And so I can't go over anything 2006. I can't use. I'm not gonna. My son's got a laptop and a tower in 10, and we can't load. We can't get a. We cannot get a CAD program that I have a disk for to function on those two computers.
Yeah.
And the guy I bought the computer, the salesman, said, "Oh yeah, you gotta do this and do." I said, "Hell no, I ain't doing all of that," because it's playing with something to do with the machine itself, and I'm not about to go in there and start messing around with settings because stuff happens, and I'm not about to fart around with a machine just because of a computer. So I've got about
I know with AutoCAD, it is operative sensitive. Your operating system. As you get to a newer version, it requires, you can't run like say AutoCAD 2018 on an XT machine or Windows XT, or XP. It just won't work anymore.
Right.
So you have to have a program now that is compatible with the operating system.
That's
I'm
why
running
I keep
Windows
with
10.
XP.
I run AutoCAD 14, 2014 on
Okay.
it, and I'm very happy. I'm not going to change anything unless they change the operating system, because I can't afford to go out and buy. Which now I understand you can't even buy a standalone license of AutoCAD. You can only buy a rental agreement, a monthly subscription of it.
And what's your operating system though?
It's Windows 10.
Really? So I would have to go with that new of a system.
Yeah, in fact, I'm trying to think, because we ran, I think 2012, AutoCAD 2012 on Windows 10 at one time, but it was buggy. And so, but once we got up to 2014, it ran fine. And now all the newer versions are even better.
Some of them you can run in legacy mode. I don't know if that's an option with the CAD programs or not. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, well, there's that, and you can also run them what they call make it what they call a virtual machine that emulates on a Windows 10 machine. It'll emulate XP, Windows XP, and you can run programs that are not compatible with Windows 10 that way. But I've never done it. I got to start doing something like that. I'd rather get a different program and a different computer.
Yeah.
What about trying a Mac if you do want to upgrade your computer system? Jeff Riley was suggesting on YouTube that a Mac will probably operate more dependent on these CAD programs.
Well, I've got about 4 computers ready to go at any point that are actually XP. When I was living in Florida, I actually had a computer guy put in all new hard drives, freshen up whatever he could, because he was a repair guy. So he had all the programs and service packs and everything else at his disposal. So I mean, they're as up to date as they can. Okay. And I don't have a lot of problems because I really don't do a lot of stuff other than the CAD work and the plotter and stuff like that.
Have you tried taking some of those problem files that you have,
What's that?
exporting them to a DXF file, and use that on your printer or your cutter?
I can print them. I find is when a CAD file, a DWG file is converted to DXF, for some reason all the lines break apart. They're still there. They touch one another, but they break apart. It's no longer one closed polyline. And I don't know a way around that, and I'm not about to go and reconnect all the parts because and it's I don't know. I just try not to export DXF files. There was one thing. Now I don't like Corel, and I don't know. A lot of you guys know that I took over all of Kyle's stuff with the Rabe stuff. All of his stuff is in Corel. So for the 5-6 years that I've owned the Mustang stuff, I didn't make one rib for it, Well, I spent a month working on that one file for the Mustang 1, and I tried to save it to a DWG or a DXF, and it seems like Corel X4 or 14, it crashes when I go to convert it. So I can't even convert the stuff now. So what I did was, one of my customers told me, some of you guys might know him, Cena. His name is Cena, SINA, Guzari.
Oh, yeah.
Guzari. You
Yeah,
remember,
yeah. I know.
okay.
Yeah.
He had told me that he created a lot of his files in it's an AI file. What is that? Adobe Illustrator? And that he can save an Adobe Illustrator as a DXF or a DWG. But once he did that, he couldn't view the file. So I just created some files in Adobe Illustrator, in Corel. I saved it as an AI file, and then I opened up the AI file with Corel, the same Corel program I saved it in, and then I was able to save it as a DWG or DXF. Go figure that one out, the same damn program.
Well, as the old saying goes, if the machinery works, don't worry about the theory. So
Well, yeah,
sounds like you
I
found it
guess.
working.
I
Yeah.
guess, but that's a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
It's just a pain in the neck. So I'd rather just stay in DWG or even DXF if I have to. But so, anyways, that's just a couple of hiccups or questions or comments that I had.
Denny, did you receive?
got it.
I sent you a private message on the 61.
I sure did, and I passed that on to Tim Redelman. In fact, it was kind of neat. We went out to lunch yesterday. Tim and Larry Fruits drove over from Plymouth, Indiana, about 75 miles away. Drove through a snowstorm and joined Wesley and I here in Fort Wayne, and we all went to lunch and had a good old time. So Tim's sorting through what he's going to do and stuff, but I appreciate the information. Like I say, I passed it on to Tim, and hoping he gets a hold of you in a minute or three, and basically he was trying to take the 46 and blow it up, to a 60 size, and I says, hey, wait, we can skip the middleman here,
What plane is that on?
on Dennis's Circulus, and I think the airplane we're talking about is literally right behind his head right now. It's a 60 size version, right?
Yeah, that one. Well, actually, I got two. One's for the Super Tiger 60, and the other one's for a Rojet 61.
Yeah. Well, he wanted something for a Tiger 60, and then like, what the heck? So
Did Larry Fruits happen to have a plane with him?
he did not have a plane with him. No.
Oh, okay.
Well, which one were you looking for?
I don't want to say until he does.
What's that?
I don't want to say anything unless he did.
Oh, well, I think I know I think I know which one you mean. All right, let's put it that way, because we've chatted about it before, so I kind of know which one you mean. But I thought he was working with you on that already. So
what's that?
I thought he was working with you on that already.
What's the letter of the first name?
See, the airplane started with an E.
No.
And the designer, his last name started with a B.
No.
All right, different airplane then.
Yep, different airplane.
All right.
Hey, well, I got a question
now we're
from a
speaking in
YouTuber for
codes
you.
and infuriating everybody. What the heck?
No, don't mean to do that.
Yeah.
Quite a long time ago, somebody drew up a set of plans. John Miller. And I was given a cutting job that someone else fell in love with when he saw or spoke about it. And I ended up doing some conversion work or modification, if you would. I think John is shaking his head because he may remember it, but it's supposed to be a secret project. And it's been over 5 years now, I guess. Because Larry Fruits had to take care of his old elderly mother, and when she finally passed, there was a lot of stuff to do. And so he kind of drifted from working on stuff, and he sent me a couple of pictures of his latest progress, and
yeah, okay.
Anyhow, it's going to be a kit one day if he ever gets it done.
All right. Hey, I want to finish up my Spitfire Seafire story if I
Hey,
can.
Walter, we got a YouTuber that's got a question
Yeah, okay,
for
and
you.
I mentioned only I went to get a visual aid because Walter hadn't seen this, I don't think, and the whole story. Talking to Walter in the past. By the way, show of hands, has anybody ever been able to call Walter on the phone and talk for less than 2 hours? Yeah. I know when I call Walter, I make sure my phone is fully charged and or I have the phone plugged into the charger. All right. Because a 5-minute phone call, yeah, right. Anyhow, all right, I'm teasing, Anyhow, the sea fires, and Walter's also a scale builder. Got history that way. So I think he'd appreciate that. The sea fire, especially the last ones, had the big Griffin engines in it. And they had to try to, counteract all that power and torque. And they used
U-bone. Wow.
counter-rotating props.
Wow. Where did you get that?
Doesn't that make your heart go pitter-patter?
Oh,
So,
yes.
So anyhow, this is something my nephew's been working on. It's very experimental right now, working on longevity and stuff like that. But it runs on the bench really nice, and we're hoping to get the thing airborne this year. See how it works. But it would look so cool in that Seafire to have both props on there turning. So.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh.
All right. Uh-oh. Okay, John's. I think we just had a new addition to the Vanguard, huh? So we got a new feature on the Vanguard.
Props
Yeah.
Counter rotating props
Hey, I
and
got
a
a question.
butterfly tail.
Woohoo! Time for a Bugatti 100.
I got a question from a YouTuber here. I got a question from a YouTuber here.
Yeah.
Jeff Riley wants to know if Walter can cut a set of T-Bird ribs that he could buy from him. Thunderbird, can you cut Thunderbird ribs, Walter?
If I can cut anything you want if you supply me with a set of files. I literally just Monday finished 3 of Don Hutchinson designs. Not the whole plane, just the ribs. Okay. Me and a friend put the ribs into AutoCAD and I cut them. We did the BT-13, the Helldiver, and the Dauntless.
So the answer is, if he sends you the files, you can cut the ribs.
Absolutely. And if he don't send me the files, he's got to send me something that we can draw the ribs with.
Okay.
Walter, can you cut from a regular old
right.
PDF file?
He's listening out there. So.
No, you can't cut from a PDF file.
Okay. Yeah, I had been told that cutters behave just like printers and everything like that. And of course, the problem with a PDF is that no control of scale or anything like that. But boy, if you could, it would sure save a lot of conversions on a lot of old plans and stuff like that.
The salesman that I got my laser through, the place I did, for the first 3 years, he kept saying that they were coming up with some kind of printer software that was actually supposed to do that. Now, keep in mind, they weren't talking model airplanes, but they were saying that they were going to be able to get the laser to function from a PDF file.
Right.
Like I said, April, my laser will be 10 years old, and I still haven't seen that program or that update for that matter. So
yeah.
Well,
they're saying I got the new version of draft. I got actually the deluxe version of the draft site here that they just brought out for. And it supposedly will let you input a PDF file, and of course you have to trace it and everything like that. And I haven't actually tried it yet, so I don't know if it works. But I know in the past, and it was a disaster. You got success with it?
Yeah, I brought in a PDF file and worked with it for a while, and it was about like working off a JPEG. So I wound up, because the JPEG was easier to get for me to get lined up and all that. I just went back to using the JPEG.
Yeah.
That's what I'm used to using. Denny and I are both running the draft site program.
Yeah, I've had luck with JPEGs too, and you're right. You fiddle and finesse it a little bit, and you can get the scale right, and you got to tweak the angle because you never know how the thing was scanned in the first place and stuff like that. But you can get there from here. So,
one of the advantages of AutoCAD is that you can import or attach the PDF, and you can trace over it, and it will snap to the end of lines or joint inside that PDF, which makes it a lot easier.
Okay, yeah, that would be it would be a help. I'm using the JPEG. I just create a layer for the JPEG and trace over it, whatever, and that's worked out all right. But there's no interaction really to it or anything. So anyhow. So Dan, welcome aboard. Haven't seen you. Missed you Monday.
I think I was maybe a little bit Monday.
Oh man, we were talking all about you too.
Yeah.
So
show them that picture of the 40 size plane you designed. You got that on your computer?
Me? Oh,
yeah.
Let me pull it up.
All right.
Don't sound so excited.
He's tired. He's
Yeah,
been going to school.
Everybody's working for the weekend, right? Or something like that. So,
something like that.
Yeah.
I know one thing. Try to stay away from the dermatologist.
Yeah, it looks like he shot you in the eye there.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it looks like you got in a fight with your dermatologist. Anyway,
6 of them on my face, 7 of them on my back.
Oh God!
And the ones on my back, he took plugs out and then burnt the shit out of them. He said if it comes back as some kind of cancer, it's already gone.
Yeah.
So my back right now feels like I'm Kunta Kinte.
Is it? I was going to say, was that shirt white when you put it on?
Can't believe how much I bled all over his doctor paper.
Should have got it and taken it and covered a plane with it.
That's it. Pre-trimmed.
Yeah, it would look just like my shirt.
Yeah, it's been already colored.
But yeah, it was. It goes, yeah, I'll see you next year. I'm like, yeah, maybe.
What was he doing? Do you have cancer cells or something on the skin?
Well, I had on my face, I had these things that were really kind of like sandpaper or whatever, and they hurt. And he knew what they were, and he said, they're nothing, and they can turn into something if you let them go for 10 years or something like that or whatever. So I burnt them off. But I had something here that was a little different, and he just went in with like a hot scalpel or something and just went it was a sizzling and a whatever, and that one went away. And then on my back they did the same thing, but
they're not cancer, right?
5 of them weren't cancer on my back. He thought 2 of them were. So he took big hunks of about, I don't know, 1/4 inch deep or whatever. He went in there, grabbed a biopsy of them, and then went to town a cutting and a burning.
Well, it looks like you used a pitching wedge on your eyebrow there.
Yeah, I know it.
You got a heck of a thing there.
They're not
Yep.
going to scar.
That
Right?
one and that one and that one and that one and that one.
Oh, geez.
They're not going to permanently scar. Are they?
I hope the heck it all turned. I hope it all cleans up for you there. That's a bunch of work.
So what's really weird is that if you look where these are at, they're all around my glasses.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if light coming through your glasses when you're working
Magnified.
outside just kind of burn you more or something.
Steve, I've had about 120 cancers taken off my arms and off my face and behind my ears. But the ones around my glasses is because I'm allergic to the nickel in the glasses frame. And if it was touching my body, I'll put this up here so you can see that. That was where I wore my watch. It has nickel in it. And they removed this one and they froze this one, but they're going to have to do something. I got to go and see them on the 13th. Anyway, the thing around your eyes may be because you're allergic to the metal in your glasses. I wound up with titanium framed lenses, and that doesn't bother me. But any other metal, boy, it bothers me.
Well, yeah, that's, you can kind of see the shape of the bottom of my glasses. That's probably touched there. And then into here is where, the things go on my nose or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's really weird. And it's the same thing where they turned the one off there. It was directly under the bow.
Was that a basal cell, that one in your hairline there? Does that sound familiar?
No, they're thinking the ones on my back were either basal or squamous cell.
Okay.
But
wow.
He burnt the crap out of them, so he said I don't have to worry.
Isn't it fun?
I tell you right now, my back is just, like I said, it feels like somebody's whipping me. They froze them when they did it. That hurt enough when they were freezing them, and
no, too much.
And then he keeps telling me to relax. Because when they're putting that stuff in, I must tighten up my back, and I could feel it squirting out and running down my back. He's going, relax, relax. So he was putting it in. My body was squirting it back out.
Oh, jeez.
But it's done. It's over. So
we can say hi, Len, now.
Hey, Len.
Hey guys, how are we doing?
Not too bad.
That's good.
Get all your work done. Naomi lets you get on the computer.
Pretty much. Got most of it done. There's a few things still to do always.
All right.
It's all good. Got some work done on the airplane this week, which was good.
What? That's cheating.
Uh,
You're actually getting work done? That's cheating. So
yeah, it's all good.
hey,
I got
if it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would get done. You got what, 3 months till you go to Joe Null, so
Oh, don't remind me. It's gonna be tight to get this one finished. I may even have to iron on cover this one. We'll see.
all right.
So did you bring them plans up yet, Brian?
I'm looking for them. I can't find them.
Oh shit.
Now that's a secret design.
Yeah.
Even he can't find it. So yeah, we were talking about secret designs earlier, Trian. I don't know. That's all.
Yeah.
Already been a strange night, hasn't it, Rusty? So
Where the hell did they go?
Hey, Rusty, I
busy
thought
trying
you weren't
to
going to be here tonight.
Oh, that changed. I announced it Monday night, and our travel plans changed. So it'll be
Okay.
a couple of Fridays from now, and I think not next Friday after.
Okay. Awesome.
So you know what I told you? He wasn't here Monday night when you knew you were on, but he came tonight when he thought you weren't going to be.
Totally missed it.
that's it. I don't know. I think Lenny's going to get muted here in a moment, but
You guys are just mean. That's all I can.
Uh,
I even
uh,
have
We're not
bandwidth
with
for
you.
you guys.
Hey, Denny,
You guys
the
took-
other night, Bob Hunt was on. I was listening on YouTube, and they were talking about cooling of electric motors on stunt ships, and using the like a ring around the nose that's larger than the back, the spinner backplate to allow air.
right.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to build a profile, my first electric profile to just play with electric. How important is cooling on a profile? Because usually everything's pretty much open and exposed. Is there any issues with cooling?
Well, that depends. If you have it pretty open and everything like that, you'd probably be all right. Although, air on the front's always a good idea. But a lot of the profiles now, especially the guys with front-mounted motors, have been basically, boxing in that mount so it's well supported and the motor's fairly well covered up. And in that case, you probably want to look at doing something to get some air into it, just because you may have it blocked from the side a lot. So basically, just putting an undersized spinner, 2-inch ring, an 1.5-inch spinner, or 1 3/4 even. You can pump a lot of air through there, around the spinner, and you can chill the motor right out. So
Because I was planning on using one of Bob's, those hard nose mounts.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
I mean, he's got the openings cut around to allow air to get through there. Do you need to cut any additional openings in that to get air through there?
No, I don't think so. I think just make sure that air can get that far back, and it'll go from there.
Yeah, because I think on Stunthangar I saw somebody, maybe it was you, that cut the nose off the spinner.
Yeah, I've done that, and that works well too. You can do that with a plastic spinner, and it's been successful with that. The other, it's all a matter of choice. And but yeah,
Hey
you can
guys,
do
I'm
either.
sorry. I can't find it.
Okay. Well, you got an assignment for Monday's show. How's that sound? So.
Okay, I guess. Well, what I want to say is, okay. In regards to the things overheating in general with electrics, it's mostly because your motor is too small.
Yeah, that's another huge point.
If things are hot, your motor is too small. Just get a bigger motor. You're gonna end up robbing Peter to pay Paul, right?
Now, when you say things are hot, are you talking about the motor, battery, ESC, everything, or
everything gets hot? Everything gets hot.
Hot. Okay.
Well, think about it. If the motor is small, it has to work very hard, right? So
Right.
you create a lot of heat over there. In order to pump in all that amps into the motor to make it work, right? Now your ESC gets hot, right? Right?
Right.
Now, in order to get all that amp and juice into the motor, the battery has to release a lot of juice, right? So the battery gets hot. So everything gets hot for one reason only. Your motor is too small.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Put a bigger motor in.
Hey, Dennis.
Drop it a little bit. Okay, there you go.
So put a 60 in it, you'll be okay.
Now, what nose fitting is that? See?
What?
What nose fitting is that?
This is the one that Dennis's
Brother.
not his brother, but his nephew makes.
Oh,
is that printed or is it machined?
It's printed.
Oh, geez, I don't trust him.
Why?
They said that's what Tom Horse has been using, and
all right, whatever. What the printer does, puts layer on top of layers, right? And those layers are not bonded perfectly like a weld joint. They just kind of sit over there on top of each other. And unless you have a printer that's very good quality that lays them up and bonds them really, really good, I think it's subject to delaminations or the first shock. You're gonna have problems. What I would probably recommend that you use one of those Bob Hunt carbon fiber firewalls. And
that's what I was planning on using.
Yeah, no, those are good. Those are good. Yeah.
But he makes it. He makes it with a scoop on the bottom too.
Yeah. If the motor is big enough, it's not going to get hot.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you this. The original Brodak Super Clown. Some of you guys may have seen it, may have even had one. It just had this little fiberglass shell around the front that reinforced the firewall and stuff. And this motor isn't working very hard. It spins up pretty fast, with a 9.4.5 prop. Doesn't work real hard because it's big enough for the airplane, but it will get noticeably warm. And on this, you see, I actually ventilated it between the mounting screws up front for the sole purpose of getting some air in there. And then use just a tiny little spinner nut that comes with it, so it gets, this motor now doesn't run hot at all. I don't think you need a lot of air, but any you have is a big help. And the Trian's point, especially with what we're doing with stun planes, making them lug a little bit. Bigger is better. There's no question about that. The bigger motor doesn't have to work as hard. The current level's lower, so the heat's lower. And then other airplanes, we've done things like that. It's kind of a a Band-Aid or whatever. I went away there. But basically, you cut the nose off a plastic spinner, or you can also do this with the real neat carbon spinners at Hobby City or Hobby King, whoever you call them. They make a real nice spinner with a screw-on backplate, and that helps. And this one here, this is really hard to see, but right at the trailing edge here, normally these spinners have a tapered edge. You see how that just follows the spinner shape?
Yeah.
All right. You can also, if you're a little, allergic to the look, if you will, the small spinner on a big ring, you can do something like just, take the cone off and chuck this up and even in a drill press or something, and you can kind of file that angle off. All right. And it'll get just a little bit smaller, and it'll let just a little more air past it into the nose ring area. Follow what I'm saying? That versus that.
Yeah. Now, did you do anything to the back plate to open up anything, or just
no? Well, these are the Great Plains spinners. Already had nice openings in them and everything like that. I've been threatening to go in there with a file and file these things at an angle so they'd be more like a vane, or more like a turbine vane or something like that would pump the air back a little bit. But really, I think it's just you pressurize the front, and you get air pumping through there. It's got to go out somewhere. Well, some of it comes out the prop hole, some of it goes right back, and then if it gets back through the motor at all, I don't think it takes a ton of cooling. Any little bit helps, but that will usually work out for you. Some other folks on Stunthangar have reported, they've had good luck with these too. So you can get there from here. It's not too bad.
Okay.
One thing nice about these is that the inside of this is made to match your motor, and it takes no pressure on the screws. This motor does not move. There's no flex. There's no nothing, because how the taper of the front part of the motor, that's made right to that shape of this for this motor.
Yeah.
Dennis, what propeller are you going to put on the plane? What size is the plane, anyways?
It's a Circulus 46, which is a 56-inch wingspan, 593-inch wingspan. I was going to use a E-Flight 20, or was it the E-Flight 25?
Same plans I emailed them are acceptably approved.
What is? Okay, something happened over there. Just like somebody was talking over you.
Oh, it's a 56-inch wingspan profile with a 5 or 600 and
so Biden's
680 square inches.
Okay, so what do you anticipate, like a 12-inch prop or 11-inch prop?
Yeah, I think it's 11. I've been working with Chris Cox on it. I think it's the APC. I want to say 11.5 by 5, something like that. 5.5.
Yeah. So, do you know the type of motor that what size is that? I think it's 28.
E-Flight 25 is a, is that what you said you had, E-Flight 25?
Yeah, E-Flight,
Yeah, that's like a 2826, Tran.
2826.
Yeah.
How much does it weigh? Just, do you know?
No, not off the top. Hang on. Let's see.
Weighs like seven something ounces, I think.
Yeah, those are heavy motors.
Yeah, let's see. The E-Flight 25 weighs 6.7 ounces
6.7.
or 190 grams.
It's too heavy for what you need. Try a and looks like it's a lot of money too, which is not worth it. I don't think it's worth the money you pay for it. Let's see. What's that? Cobra? You guys use Cobra usually? 2020.
Well, this is my first electric, so it's all experimental.
No, yeah,
Cobra
I
2820 sounds like it may not be a bad choice.
28.
There you go with the badass, and then tell us how it worked.
Be your guinea pigs.
Yeah, well, it's your first one. You won't know the difference if it's good or bad anyway.
That's true.
They looked really good. It's funny, Lucian Miller, who runs Innovative RC and distribute the Cobras and now the Badass motors and everything like that, he has been tuned into the control line people. I don't think he's a control. He actually used to live around. He was a club member here in Fort Wayne for a while. He moved off to, I think, Monroe, Michigan now. But at any rate, he has been tuned into our needs, and he's been, supportive and stuff like that. So he's been a good guy to work with. So. I'm representing Brand X, so I'm not using any of his motors, but I do like what he has to offer. So,
okay, here's the deal. What I probably out is this one, Cobra 282612. Okay. What do you want to plan to use? A 4S system, a 4-cell system?
Yeah, if I can.
If you can, a 4-cell system. So let's see, say about say to 1100 RPM.
Probably a 900. 11.5.5 is like a 9,700 RPM prop. So 4 cells and about a 900 to 950 is you get a pretty good combination.
Yeah, I think you can get away with the 740 and a 760, 740 because it's a very strong motor. Maybe at 800 kV was also going to work good, I think.
Yeah, it's just a question of getting enough RPM. I'll have to throttle it up to get enough RPM to turn that prop. So,
okay, I think 760 is going to give you most power because it has the lowest kV, so it probably has the most muscle out of all of them, and probably going to end up with the 11.6 or something like that prop on it. I would up the pitch and lower the RPM, but you're never going to run that motor at 11,000 RPM, even with a headroom.
I think, and to Tryan's point, you're talking about an 11.5.5 or something. You can use the APC 12.6, clip it to 11 inches, and you probably that's a slower prop.
I wouldn't put
APC. Some
APC.
RPM. Yeah.
I would not put the APC on that motor. APCs are heavy, even the electric ones. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Tryan's right. They're
both.
heavier than, say, some of the carbon props or the beautiful stuff that Igor's doing and stuff like that. But his props are designed to run like 11,000 RPM, and I'm not ready to go there.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the wood exhaust props, which are like $10 a piece, and they're beautiful geometry, super light. About 12 grams or so, something like that, and they just work beautiful. They don't use a lot of juice at all.
Yeah,
that's kind of my weapon of choice, and they are light and.
Yeah, I haven't been able to get any of those, so I haven't really tried them because I can't get a dependable source. So.
I got them from eBay, usually, or what's the call of that? Amazon. You can find them on Amazon.
Yeah. When Zora used to have on their website, they advertise electric props and reverse pitch props and 3-bladed wood props and everything like that. And I actually wrote them a note once and asked them some follow-up questions and never heard back. And so, of course, the local hobby shop, they're supplying, things. Well, APCs are the only thing I can use that they supply. And then so I've been going through Brodak and even directly to APC. Got a lot of the left-hand props set up that way. But you're right. The APC props are definitely heavier than wood props. That's for sure.
Hey guys,
You guys
I'm
gotta
gonna
check these out from Turnigy. I
night,
think
guys.
they're made by Zor, and they're $2 and something.
Walter, are you checking out? Did you say?
No,
Yeah,
those
I'm
are
gonna
not the
check
ones.
out. I'm gonna have to check out. I'm in the living room and I'm basically distracting my.
All righty.
It's not her fault, guys. You hear that? It's not her fault.
You're creating a nuisance, huh, Walter?
That's it. That's
Not
well, good to
me.
see you again. You take care.
Okay.
Not me.
Take it easy.
I'll talk to you.
Yeah,
All
Have a
thanks,
righty.
man.
wonderful night, guys.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Steve, I have those props. I have a level
we got
2
it.
props.
But it turns the wrong way.
I think you can get them in both directions.
Okay.
But I mean, these things are feather light,
Mhm.
and we had some Zors, and we put it up to the Zors, and somebody on I don't know one of the things was saying that Zor was making Turnigy props, and these are really nice props for $2 or something.
I don't know. Hobby City used to have their own props that were, for lack of a better term, they were bare-ass copies of the APCs, and they were not APCs. And I guess I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't copying the Zor rather than getting it from Zor. You know what I mean? But still, it's pretty hard to argue with a $2 prop.
Yeah.
That's definitely worth finding. So.
But I mean, they're balanced good, everything. I mean, they're we'll find out if there's difference between the props. That was like on the one that Brodak had. They look really nice, but they had different pitch on them or something.
Yeah, you mentioned that you had inconsistent pitch from prop to prop, and that's been one of the downfalls of wood props forever. Except Zors, people I've talked to running the Zors are they're
bulletproof.
consistent. Yeah, they have figured out how to make a wood prop more accurate than anybody. So
yeah, they're wonderful props.
Yeah,
and I think $10 for each one. I think they machine them with CNC on both sides, and then they put the finish on top of them. So they're very, very nice props, pitch wise and stuff like that. I mean, it's like they're super nice, lightweight. My 12-inch diameter prop weighs about 12 grams or so. They're about as light as a carbon prop. And the aerodynamics on them is just gorgeous. If you look at the blade, I checked the pitch on them, and the pitch is very consistent throughout the blade. I mean, just it's worth every penny of the $10 that you spend on the prop. And actually, I'm looking at some 11.6 wood props for electric Exor. That's like $3 for $20, $21. So it's $7 a piece. I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
No, it's pretty hard to beat.
I'm gonna once I get my pitch gauge back together, because I loaned it out and it come back broken. I gotta get a machine piece.
Yeah. And then
I'm gonna check these, but from eyeballing and stuff like that, I mean how smooth they are. You don't see, and I have a feeling that these will be as good as Zors myself. Put them up against them, the looks with the naked eye, they look as good. But
it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, Dennis, and one more thing is so try to stay away from low pitch props on your first electric.
Okay.
Yeah. See, electrics are not IC motors, right?
Right.
They give you maximum torque at 0 RPM. So they love low RPM, high load. Okay. So it's better to run them with a higher pitch at the lower RPM than on the high RPM with the low pitch. I mean, it's and a 6-inch pitch prop. I think is about perfect for just about anything we use.
Mm. Yeah, I'm definitely. I have been wandering around, and I'm reaching the same conclusion. In fact, I'm going to try some just for laughs. Everything I'm flying is smallish. I'm going to try a 10.7 this year, and I'm going to try the 12.6.5 extra wide blade on an SV11. That's like an 8,200 RPM prop, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that works. And but yeah, when you load up an IC engine, they usually, the RPM falls off and you lose all your power. And that's why people run IC engines fast, I think. They try to keep it going with a light load and spin it up as fast as you can and hope you can hang on till the next square corner. But the electrics will just keep on chugging away. So
yeah.
But I know my circular 61 with the road jet, I run a 3-blade, the 12.5 by. I started off with 12.5 by 3 3/4 inch pitch.
Wow.
And we ended up pitching it up to 4. And that suited the plane perfectly. It came out the corners nice and everything. I was really pleased with it.
Yeah. Don't think like that when you think electric. It's completely opposite.
Yeah, it's a whole new ball game. It's
yeah.
In fact, I'm writing a book basically about my experience in going through all this because it's all new.
Yeah, I want to try some eight pitch props.
I put an 8-pitch on the combat plane, so I got a 9-pitch for it now too. So having a lot of fun. How many half-A size combat planes have you ever seen flying with an 8.8 prop? All right.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that everybody, when they go up with pitch, they come down with diameter. I don't think you have to do that with electric.
You probably would at some point, but yeah, I think you're right. I think you just dial, and especially if you're looking for a constant speed like we are, you just, crank up the pitch and dial down the RPM, and the battery load actually, I think, ends up being lower.
Right. That's what I'm kind of seeing too on different things.
Dennis, I put a couple of links for you. Okay. In a chat box.
Hang on here. Let me see if I get the chat box here.
In the lower left side, you have a TV, a hand, and a.
Got it.
Okay. So that's one is for the motor, and the other one is for the props. I think that motor is so powerful. The prop is gonna be like a toothpick for it, like a toothpick for a dinosaur, kind of like that. So right now I'm using something somewhat similar to that on my on a twister, which is a big, the twister, the big fat airfoil and stuff like that, and very draggy plane. And I'm using a 30 amps ESC on it. And the battery never gets even warm. The ESC doesn't get hot at all. The motor is nice and cool. I mean, just no issues over there. But Dennis, think about this, okay? If you get a bigger motor, it's heavier. You're going to pay the penalty in weight over there, right? However, the ESC gets lighter. You can use thinner wires. You can use a smaller battery. Everything down the line, you're going to gain, right? So you kind of rob Peter to pay Paul here.
Okay.
However, by doing that, everything is relaxed. The batteries don't work so hard. They're going to last you longer. The ESC doesn't have to work so hard. It's going to last you longer, right? The motor doesn't work so hard. It's not going to burn out. Everything is relaxed in a system. So yes, that motor is capable. The motor I put in here, it's most likely capable to swing a 12, even a 13-inch prop, easy, right? You're using an 11 on it. Yes, it's like, as I said, like a dinosaur using a toothpick to clean up his teeth, But yeah, so, and I think for 4S, about 2200 milliamps, maybe a 25 if they exist. I don't know if they exist. But I think 4S22 should get you on an 11-inch prop, you should be fine for a whole flight on that motor.
Yeah, it might be a little tight. 25 would certainly make it, but
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Tran, you might in the Cobra lineup, I think they have a 35. Well, they got a 3515. I think they have a 3510 also, which would be your big motor philosophy and basically no weight penalty.
Okay, let's look at it.
I know they got a 3515, but I'm not sure. I thought they had a 3510 too.
Yeah. Okay, let's look
Those
at
pancake motors are just really, they're the torquiest of the bunch. And
All right, so yeah.
do they have a 10 or just a 15?
I'm looking right now.
Okay.
So airplane motors, is that a okay? So this 28. Let's look at 35. 3510, 3515, 740. Okay, let's look at the 740. 740. Yeah, the weight is very good. All right. It has a outside diameter 43, 42. That's a good choice, I think. That's a badass choice, I think. 3518 is 740 kV. Might be just right. 35 15 14 is 950 kV, but he will never have to use this motor to turn 11,000 RPMs, so that's what I'm thinking. Well, at most with the 6-inch prop probably is going to be 9,000 RPM, so you don't need that much kV to turn it.
Right.
Is there an ideal RPM that you need between a range that you should be on electric motors, or every motor's different?
People at Castle, they're the ones who make the Phoenix, the Edge, everything like that. They said their governor works best when you're working at somewhere between 70% and 85% of the rated RPM of the motor. See, the rated RPM of the motor is the kV times the voltage, or really the nominal voltage is the way to do it. So if you have
so let's take this example. Yeah, let's take this example. This is 740 kV, which means 740 RPMs per each volt that you're feeding in, right? Now the batteries are 3.7 volts per cell. So if I multiply 740 by 3.7, you get 740 times 3.7, which is a battery voltage at the low end, right? After you use the full flight, it gives you 2,738 RPMs per each cell on your battery. So now if you have a 3-cell battery, a 4-cell battery, you can calculate the overall. So if for a 4-cell battery times 4, theoretically with no load, you have about 11,000 RPM usable, right? 10,952 if you do the math here, right? But in reality, you will never use this maximum RPM. This is absolute. I think you can actually reach this maybe with no load, but anyways, you're never going to use this on a 6-inch prop. You're going to use this, right? So 6 inches about what, 9,500 RPM, somewhere over there. I might be wrong.
Is a Capella APC, or let's see.
What would be 80% of the RPM?
So 9,500 divided by 11,000. I'm just roughly here, right? 11,000. That gives me about 80%, 86% of maximum. But this is a big motor, If you look at the specs of the motor, let's look at the specs of this motor, just for kicks and giggles, right? If you look at the specs of the 740 in Cobra, they did some good, propeller data chart. If you look at the propeller data chart, look at here as 11 volts, 4S is 14.8. So okay, here 14.8. Look, 11.8, 11.5, 11.5, 11.7, APC 11.7, right? So they say that you use about 23 amps. So this motor just very, very relaxed with that prop, right? And you are prop RPM, it's about 8,000 and whatever. At about 8,000 something. 56 miles per hour, the pitch speed over there. I think you're spot on. I think this is spot on for you, for what you need. Yeah.
And it's the bigger diameter too, so you'll get the torque effect on that from speed change.
Yeah. Yeah. And
again, that's the 3515/18.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Now the if you look at it, 790 watts. That's 1 horsepower on 4-cell. No, 530 watts on 4-cell. Okay, which is still, what's the 1 horsepower 750, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and this continues. It's not like a IC, right? So was it 630 divided by 750?
Did they make the 10?
0.84 horsepower.
What about the 10? The 3510?
3518. Let me go back. All right, let's look at 35. No, I think 3510 is going to be undersized. Okay. I think 3515 is perfect. This 3515-14 as well, which has a little bit more kilovolts. But I think I'll probably use this one if and only if I was planning to use a small pitch prop. Anyways, and this one on 4S, same power basically. Yep.
How about the badass?
Oh, but look at this one. Wait a second. This motor that has more kilovolt, right? If you look at the 4S setup, they recommend like 10-inch props now. Okay. So you see how the higher the kilovoltage, the less torque you have available per se. But this is 10.7 at 10,000 RPMs. And look at the amps. Amps is 36 amps. So no, I will not go there. Use as low. I think if you do the math or something like that, if you look for a motor, look for the lowest kV that you can get away with, because those motors are torqueier than the high kV motor in the same frame. I mean, so you have same weight, same outside diameter, same everything, but it's the winding that's inside the motor that makes the difference, right? And that's the winding that gives you the kV. But as the kV goes up, the torque comes down. So you need a small diameter prop. I'm using, on my plane, I'm using a 510 kV motor, and I'm running on a 6S system. So if you think about, let's do a math. It's 510 times 6, and then times 3.7 volts, right? That's a theoretical about 11,300 RPM over there. But that's on a 6-cell battery, right? So I don't know. I think this is going to be plenty good. I don't know. I'll probably go with the other one with the 18, 35, 15, 18. I think it's a great match. What do you think, Dennis?
Like I say, I'm a little fonder of. I would go with the higher kV, and the reason being that I'd want to make sure I was, at the low side and I had enough overhead if the battery runs low and stuff. Nothing wrong with what you're recommending. All right. Absolutely nothing wrong. I would have a little more flexibility on props if I couldn't get a decent 6-pitch prop. If I was stuck, if I had to run, say 9,500 instead of 8,500 RPM, I guess I'd like to have a little bit in the tank there. let me show you something I've been messing around with. This kind of, this is what you do when you really have too much time on your hands. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You go and you create a bunch of goofy spreadsheets. And this is one. Okay, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What I tried to do with this is I tried to take down the left side. This is different KV ratings, and the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are colored actually corresponded to some motor that I had or was interested in or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then did it for 3 cell, 4 cell, 5 cell, 6 cell. And
Mm-hmm.
then also did it for different throttle settings. Remember, I told you the people at Castle wanted you to run between 70 and 85% throttle. All right, that gives you enough overhead, and of course,
Okay.
100% is the theoretical capability. And just
Mm-hmm.
going down the list, and then the green zone, if you will, that was basically okay. If you run an 850 motor, let's see, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
At 70% throttle, you got 8,800 RPM. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You were at 740, was it? Yeah, I got a 750 here, and you'd be running about 80% throttle to get 8,800 RPM. All right. If you're going to run a little bit lower, of course, you'd be safer and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I had marked the usable RPM to be, well, okay, anywhere from, say, call that a 6 pitch up to or down to a 4 pitch prop, things that I might be capable of using. And of course, if the motor runs too fast, it's absolutely worthless. I totally agree with you on that. The KV is too high. You get the motor sub-optimized. And in fact, the ESC is sub-optimized. If you're running it at 50% throttle, the governors don't work as well. They need a certain signal to noise ratio to get a proper, to control the RPM properly. So anyhow, in my spare time, I just made up this spreadsheet and stuff. And really, it kind of backs up what you're saying. The only caveat is that if you got stuck with let's see, 75, or if you got stuck with a prop that you had to turn a little bit faster, or for whatever reason, say you put it on long lines or something, you wanted to go a little faster, you might be a little borderline with the 750 kV, and the 900 kV might be a little borderline, to concerns you had about it being too fast. Now the other thing is that the RC people, they've got these things rated, the props rated and everything like that to run full throttle, 100% throttle all the time. And of course, we don't do that. All right. That's why they call the Power 25 a Power 25. It's supposed to run like a 25 size IC engine. But to me, that means it's turning a 9-inch prop. And of course, the people running Power 25s are running 12 and 13-inch props on stunt planes because they can, because we're running them slower. We're running them with 4 cells instead of 3 cells and things like that. So, the point that I guess I'm trying to make is that we run the engines below their rated RPM because we need that overhead to make up for, when our maneuvering, and make up for when the battery is weakening and stuff, so we can still maintain our RPM setting as we get late into the flight. We might have started the flight at an 80% throttle setting, and it might be 84, 85 by the end. And it'll be at certain times pushing 100% throttle, to try to maintain the RPM. If you watch the data logs and everything like that. And I'm speaking like a spaceman now. I apologize for all that, but point is that if you can run closer to 70% throttle, you're better off. And if you can run what's it called, a little bit, match the prop to the motor and stuff, you're better off. I think any of the 3515, people have been running those with 13-inch props and there's no issues at all. 3520, of course, better. But for that load. But the airplane that Dennis described, that motor is not even going to know there's an airplane behind it. So even at the 740, the only thing is he will be consigned to using high pitch props, and if he can get those high pitch props, no problems. If he can get a good Zor or something, or the prop that Steve showed, then he won't have any issues at all.
Yeah.
But so.
Yeah, Dennis, I put a motor in there on the chat. That's the one I have on my twister, and I'm running on 11.6 prop on it, and I think I'm using power wise. I think I might be at 60% power, something like that from twister, and it just pulls through like it's nothing. The ESC is everything is relaxed, nothing gets hot.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's
That's a 3548. Is that Joker?
Yeah.
Okay.
So after all this discussion, have we just convinced Dennis to make his new airplane with an LA-46? I hope not.
I was gonna say I just looked up that badass, and that 1315. I mean, an 11.55. It's using 49 amps at 725. If you go to a 7-inch, it drops to 57. I mean, it's 7-pitch. 8-pitch drops to 64, and that's all.
What are you looking at? 3515?
Pardon me?
Which one are you looking at?
Badass 3515.
Okay. Is it 710 kV or which one?
Yeah, 7. No, this is the one I'm looking at now was the 940 kV.
Okay.
But I'm just kind of comparing what you would use for, say if you're gonna, what prop you're gonna run and how big of ESC you would need.
Yeah. 42. Yeah.
So yeah, you're gonna need, if you run a 940, you're gonna need over a 60 amp ESC on something like that. Running that kind of RPM
on this motor, it doesn't look like at all.
It doesn't sound right.
It's a 1200 watts motor. Whoa.
Getting some feedback.
Aviajet, I don't know if you can hear us, Charles, but I think if you have anything on in the background, another YouTube window or music or something like that, we're getting some feedback through your voice there. So if you can turn off the background stuff. I think we're getting some feedback through your microphone.
His microphone is off.
Yeah, I muted him on mine. I don't know if that mutes him for everybody, but it seemed to take care of everything. Took care of it here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, this is at 3515 940. If I go down to 4 cell and pick a prop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, 11.55 is 49. That's at 11,000.
Yeah.
11.7's at 57. So.
Yeah, I guess a good clue on any of this stuff. You look at the outside diameter and overall length. It's like 43 and 41, and the weight, it's 184 grams. That's a very lightweight motor with a lot of power to it. Lots of power. And I think on 4 cell is going to be just brilliant. I mean, you have more than 1 horsepower on that thing.
Okay. Don't they have on the innovative site? I don't have it open. Don't they also have like drawings of the motor and stuff like that? I know that Dennis does a lot of CAD work and stuff, and if he had those drawings available, he could probably help design his nose structure a little better.
Yeah, they're there.
So did you hear that, Dennis?
Hang on, I got the doorbell. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
What in the world is going on there?
I don't know. I just turned down Aviajet. I had to turn AvioJet down. That's where the screaming feedback's coming from. I don't know what he's got going on in there. Charles, if you can hear us, I think you've got some kind of a feedback loop going on between your mic and speakers, but it's whistling and we can't hear any voice. And I've got your volume turned down too.
That's helping.
With the Cobra motor, what is the recommended mounting preference? Front mounted or rear mounted, or does it matter? Or?
I kind of front mount everything I have, so but there you know.
I'm getting that way. I think it matters less on smaller motors and with smaller props on them, but when you start getting some of the big stunt props, 11, 12, 13-inch props, I really prefer to mount those from the front.
Mm-hmm.
You save a lot of bearing stress that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I just put one of those round rings that, you know, that I don't know, whoever makes them, that those are composite rings. Who makes them, Dennis?
Yeah, Bob Hunt makes
Hunt.
those, and he said he's already planning on using that, so he's certainly on the right path there.
Yeah. I just front mount it and just go today. It's always good.
Yeah.
And the bigger the more the better off you are. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think, you know, any of these motors that we talked about, I think they're gonna get the job done. The one I put over there is super light, by the way. If you look at the weight of that motor. Where's that?
Yeah. One you put in the link is the 2826.
It's 3548 850 kV.
Okay.
And I think the kV is just right. It's not too high, but not too low either. It's in the perfect range over there. Look at it. You can swing a 14-inch prop on 3S. And it's 167 grams. I mean, it's just good weight. The balance is just about ideal.
Yeah. That's a tough motor to. That's a tough one to pass up.
And if you look at the design of it, what I did over there, see the can has a little bit larger diameter than the front mounting ring, and that facilitates for the cooling air to go through the core and around the outside of the ring in between the can and stuff like that. So.
I believe that motor is also mounted on a 25 millimeter bolt circle, which means you can actually, if for whatever reason you decided you didn't like the motor, you could go back to almost any motor. That's a standard mount, and you could mount literally dozens of different motors on that bolt circle. And you know that if you decided to change brands or for whatever reason they become unavailable or some silliness like that. So there's a lot of compelling reasons to go with the 35 millimeter. So
yeah, I mean for me that works great. I mean this works great.
I did get a 3510 an off-branded Chinese motor. It was a series called Red Rock. I got a couple of those, and they got samples, basically prototypes, and they work really good. I mean, I was using them in place of like 2815s. I was using a 3510, and the motor is it's a little bit heavier than the other motor, but they absolutely loaf. And the only problem is that it's hard to get that smaller size. It was it was lighter, obviously, because they were shorter, but the large diameter is a real torquey motor, like you said, and that's a really handy thing to have. So.
Yeah. Dennis, the only thing you're going to complain if you make the switch, you're going to complain that your motor runs perfectly every freaking flight. So I don't want to hear those complaints from you.
Well, that's it.
And you also...
there's a lot of
through and I've seen some very nice electrical models. I mean, I got Chris Cox, I got Paul Walker. Been able to get up close personal to their planes, and but again, they're running the big Plattenberg motors and so forth with the Igor system, and I'm not ready for that yet.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to get into it. I want people just get familiar with it. Play with it.
The Plettenberg really isn't that big a motor, I don't think, based on its
Yeah.
magnet length and diameter. Big
Yeah,
because it uses the
Let
external
me
bearing, but the power
make
system
it big,
is that
but
big.
price
So, yeah.
is another
Well,
item.
they're big this way.
Yeah, very big.
But they're also 10-pole motors, which means that they're a little bit harder to control. And a couple other things I never liked about them, but I don't know. They, there's some awfully successful people using them, and it's hard to argue with success. So,
Because I think those successful people they can fly with any motor and it's still going to be successful. That's
that's about it. So,
and I don't see the reason for which I would even me switching to a Plettenberg, even though whatever it's going to make me fly better or have a better good God.
what the heck's going on there? But,
Charles, I think Charles would be Charles would be better served, watching us on YouTube because this is just it's awful. Charles,
we're
it's
getting
awful,
a
but
lot of trouble there. I don't really know why.
It must be bothering y'all worse than it is on my end. I've got him turned all the way down.
I turned him down and it's a little bit better, but I'm still picking it up. But he ain't talking or nothing. You may want to boot him.
No, I'm not
Let him try
talking
to
at
come
all.
back in.
Well,
Can you guys hear me now?
no offense,
Yeah.
Charles. I'm
Yes.
gonna boot you out, and if you want to try to rejoin, maybe rebooting your system will help. And here we go. Kick.
Now, wait a minute. Just right now, he sounds like he's coming in all right. Did you get it fixed?
I kicked him.
No.
Mm.
That's why I got quiet. All right.
Yeah. There we go.
Anyhow.
So yeah. So what can I say? Good luck with your first electric.
Indeed.
Yeah, I guess I'm thrilled.
Hey, by this time next year, all those airplanes behind you will have for sale tags on them. All right. So, fearless prediction.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Oh, Dennis, one more thing. Okay, if you make a new plane, build it for electric.
Yes.
Okay, you don't need 1/16 doublers out of plywood.
Right.
1/64 will be more than enough. Okay, you just don't pile on the weight. That's all there's to it. If you build it from scratch, try maybe a thinner airfoil. Right, because the electrics don't really run away. Okay, they're so consistent they don't really run away. So a thinner airfoil also works. I mean, if you're looking including the flaps, I don't know. I think about 16 will be fine, and 14, 13 on the tip. If you do that, I think you're gonna have a very successful plane. Yep. That's all I have to say.
And that's the funny thing. You can put an electric motor in any airplane designed for gas, and it'll work just fine. But it's like you're leaving opportunity on the table. That's all. It's like there's more to be gained there. I think we're looking at a new age of taking the airplanes we've been flying and designing them for the new system. And yeah, the airplanes that come out will probably not work very well with Rojet 61s, but they will work like crazy with Cobras and Badasses and Axes and whatever else.
Yeah,
so,
you don't need all that hardware in a nose that to stop the vibration from an IC motor. None of that. They don't vibrate at all. So why put 1/16 or 1/8 inch balsa doublers? You don't need that.
Yeah.
A 64.
I think Dean Pappas way back when summed it up, and he thought that the electric airplanes of the future were going to look more like USA ones than like later airplanes. Basically it looked more like the classic era designs with thinner wings and stuff. And the other thing that I honed on to, particular, I really like smaller airplanes anyway. If you take a look at the history of design for, for glow engines, the airplanes kept getting bigger and bigger because the engines were getting bigger and people were building airplanes for, for that power. And a few people like David Fitzgerald bucked the trend. He made his, he kept the big engine, made his airplane little and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But, so the best engines required big airplanes, basically to match up. With an electric motor system, you can get a motor system from a half A to a 75 equivalent, and they'll all run the same. So you can really pick and choose and make that airplane exactly the size you like to fly, or so exactly the size that fits in your car or whatever your parameter is, and you're going to be able to bolt in a motor that gives you a perfect stunt run every time. So
Yeah. That's absolutely true, except for
Yeah.
one little detail. As planes get bigger, the Reynolds numbers are better, and they will behave better in the air. So what I'm saying is that you have a half a plane, you have to fly it scale-wise supersonic just to have it stay in the air.
I think the Reynolds number effects are real, certainly, based on the chords and stuff. But between a half A and a big airplane, it's a fairly important thing. Between a classic size airplane and a big airplane, it's a lot smaller difference. And it's directional, but the Reynolds number effects, they're real, but usually, the effects, even when they do wind tunnel tests, they'll test it like a Reynolds number like 50,000 is considered really, really low. And they'll go to 100,000 and 200,000 and 300,000, great big increments. And, they're not testing the kind of increments that you get going from, say, a 10-inch wing chord to a 12-inch wing chord or something like that, which really isn't, from a Reynolds number standpoint, isn't that much. You are absolutely right. Reynolds number is a good thing, and bigger is better. But again, we're all flying basically the same speed, or if you're flying a half A, you're flying faster, certainly. But there's a limit to what our reflexes can do. We can't fly big airplanes at 3-second lap times and fly them with any kind of accuracy or anything like that. And almost whatever size airplane it is, we're limited to something equates to something around a 5-second lap time. Probably a practical limit. I know there's some guys can go a little faster, some guys like flying slower, but the reality is that the way the way the people is wired, our reflexes are tuned into a certain size. So
a certain speed.
Well, the other thing,
even the half A electrics, you fly one of those compared to a gas electric, no comparison.
Say that. For the backyard, I got Samantha baby clowns from Brodak, the setup, and she can fly the whole pattern with that. I mean, when we went to Brodak and watch everybody come up with their half A's and try to fly the full pattern.
Keep in mind, it was 1,000 mile an hour wind.
Electric. It'd be unfair if they had the half A at Brodak and brought an electric. I mean,
I was very sorry. I even brought my half A's to the Brodak last year, and they had a blast. But you're absolutely right that the half A electrics, the one, my half A Pathfinder is a off the shelf kit, and it flies absolutely terrific. It doesn't fly like a little airplane at all. And even the wee duper Zilch from 1950, flapless, big thick airfoil and everything like that, it flies phenomenally well. It does such a good pattern that it's a shame to limit it to the old time pattern because it flies too good, So
well, with that baby clown, if you put on the Kevlar, the real small Kevlar lines, and knock the drag down, run it with a little bit bigger propeller than you normally use on you can fly it at a relatively good speed. It's still a little bit faster, but it's not like trying to hang on most half A's and winding you in the ground. I mean, I'm a shitty flyer, and I can do all the stuff on that I can do on a regular airplane. I mean,
I've seen that half A Pathfinder float on 50 some odd foot lines.
That's what I fly. That's what I fly the electric on.
Yep.
And Joe Gilbert was funny. He was flying it, and Joe's a wonderful flyer, got wonderful soft hands. He can fly almost anything. He picked it up, and the biggest trouble he had is he was pulling out at like 10 or 12 feet and stuff like that because he just wasn't used to going that deep into corners. You just keep fly. No, a little farther, Joe. Take another half a breath. Now you can turn it. But it was delivering on the promise of small airplanes and small maneuvering space and stuff like that. And what you designed that or Gordon, the Happy Pathfinder?
Gordon did.
Gordon did? Okay. But that's just a wonderful, wonderful airplane. So, wow.
Yeah, I'm going to try to bring one to Brodak with a diesel in it, see how that works.
Yeah.
Nobody will like you anymore, Steve. It'll be stinky over there.
Nobody likes them now. So
yeah,
I was going to say that. Nobody likes them now. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Not worried about that.
Yeah, bring two of them.
Well,
they'll say, "Hey, you stink," and they didn't know you really stink. Really.
I'm hoping that I could turn a little bit bigger propeller at less RPM, kind of like an electric.
Well, yeah, and then go pitch too. Pitch up 6 pitch or so, 8.6 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, get it up there.
Yeah,
I've got a brand new PAW 30 that I'd love to be able to put on a stunt ship and fly it, but I don't want the onus of the stink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Low flyers can't bitch about the stink, So
the only complaint I have about electrics is the noise.
Yeah.
It's a hum. Yeah. It sounds like a giant mosquito. Yeah.
It was funny. I was I mentioned Larry Fruits earlier. Actually 2 years ago, he asked me to fly his airplane, and of course I insisted that he fly mine. And so he's flying mine, and he can't hear the motor doing anything, and it's smaller and lighter in his airplane. Gee, there's not a lot of line tension. Is it the only reason he convinced himself to fly it is that he had seen me fly stunt patterns with it, so he knew it must do it. But his own immediate feedback mechanism between the noise and everything like that, he just didn't think it would fly. And he started flying it. Oh, this is okay,
I had a very similar experience. I went up to Canada and flew a contest up there that Chris Cox was putting on. And he brought out his old electric Crossfire. And we had two modelers. One was from Australia, another one was from New Zealand that came on in. And so they flew his Crossfire in the competition. And then afterwards, we were allowed, if we wanted to, we could fly his Crossfire. And so I've never flown an electric plane before, so I decided to do that. And so he fires it on up, lets it go. I do a lap or two, just get little climbs and dives, get the feel of the controls. And the next thing I know, I was doing the entire pattern on the first flight. I had no problem with it at all. And I was very, very impressed because, like I said, the only thing that bothered me is, like you mentioned, I'm used to the engine sound making a little change when you hit a corner. It didn't do that, and I go, wow, hey, this is pretty neat. And I, it had plenty of power, it had plenty of line tension, and that it really, really impressed me. And to do that on a first flight on a plane that's not mine was unbelievable. I just could not believe I could do what I did, and so I was impressed. So ever since then, I kept thinking about this because and making the switch over. But it takes a sizable investment if you got nothing to start with to get into it. So I'm just doing it slowly and surely and trying to get the I's dotted and the T's crossed to make sure I don't get too crazy. And next thing I know, I'm burning up a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, well, that's it. And the wonderful thing is now is that there's been a lot of pioneering work and stuff like that. And thanks to people like Mike Palco and stuff like that. Basically, the easy 80% is out there. You can't go too far wrong. I've done a lot of work with Brodak and helped a lot of people get started into it and made everything so it was all the connectors are soldered in, everything is plug and play and everything. And it's like pick the pieces and put them together, and you can go fly, and you can be awfully successful your very first time out. And and then things like using a big diameter motor set. That's like icing on the cake. But you could have used it. There's a lot of different motors you could use that would generate success. But using that, starting that little bit there, that's gets you just a little bit closer to the promised land. So.
The one thing is once you fly electric or around electric a lot, you'll hear the motor changes just like you do on ice.
Yeah, that's true.
You hear them. It's just not so pronounced. Just like when Samantha was flying Tryon's airplane, I could hear all the changes in it, where it changed and stuff like that. People that aren't normally around electrics, they wouldn't have picked up on it, but you hear it. There's no doubt about it. You can hear that motor change RPM and stuff like that. I could always judge how hard Samantha was hammering a corner by the electric motor making a change.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear it grunt down when it tries to pick that RPM back up on a hard corner and stuff like that. So
yeah, I would imagine it's just a matter of retuning your ears to get accustomed to the sound.
Yeah, it's especially good if you have 75% hearing loss, use hearing aids and everything like that. Yeah, so
that'd work good for me.
Yeah.
The only thing you'll miss is the smell, which I do. I always been a motorhead and always love the smell of burning castor. That's like the new motors that you don't put castor oil in. That's kind of
that's it.
That's kind of like going to electric. If I can't smell the burning of castor oil and nitro, it just doesn't do the same thing for me.
Well, ever since I was a kid, everything I ran was icy engines. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I am as comfortable as a pig in slop. Yeah, when it comes to icy engines, there's no problem there. Now you give me an electric plane. What do I do with it now?
Yeah. Well, hey, you can go to the field smelling like Old Spice, and you come home and you still smell like Old Spice. All right. Well, maybe sweaty Old Spice, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Well, the one thing with electric too, if you want to dink around with RPM and all that kind of stuff, and you can still screw your airplane up and adjust all kinds of shit, and then go back to where you had it if you just like to change stuff.
Well, that was one of my concerns because another fellow modeler, he switched over to electric, and he was struggling with it, and because he didn't understand many of the settings that needed to be set, and he was setting them wrong. And then once he got with somebody who knew what they were doing, and got them straightened on out, it's unbelievable what he's able to accomplish now. But it took that learning lesson to go from the extreme worst to what it needed to be. For him to get to where he is now, and he's very content with electric now.
Well, that was like Samantha. She hated electric, and we are always converting IC airplanes to electric. She did not like how he felt and stuff. And then she flew the electric Vector 40 from Rodak. She'd never go back. I mean, that airplane was designed for electric, and it flies well. She wouldn't go back to IC.
Yeah, Vector 40 it's a beautiful plane and it flies beautiful. But if I was making a Vector 40 for electric, I would still thin out that airfoil quite a bit.
No.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you design your own plane for electric, I think would not be a bad idea to do like a Junar style wing, like a thinner I-beam, like USA 1 or something like that. Maybe a little bit longer tail.
Do all the other modernization things. I mean, tails have been getting longer, stabs have been getting bigger. Say since the classic area, do all the good things like that. Don't forget that. Hey. You know me, I'm big on big aspect ratios and thin wings, so that's where I'm headed. So
that's what
and long fuselages.
Plane was that Junar wing.
Yep. For example, my plane has about 16% thickness at the root, and it's about 14 on the tip. So it's not a lot of thickness on it, but it's not charging, not even the high winds. It's not charging at all. So I think I would make the wing thin enough, as thin as you can get away with the plane not charging.
Quarter-inch slab with a little bit of radius.
If you can get away with that, and on a downline is not spinning up when you going like a rocket, I think it's a plus.
Yeah, I have a Australian design, if you will, flat plate wing sitting up in the rafters here, and that's going to be flying this spring too. So, but the Australians have had a lot of luck with the real dirt simple airplanes, quarter-inch thick wings, 450 squares or so, and they were using Enya 19 diesels or something like that on them. They're flapped, all exposed. Basically, it looked like a half-A airplane, double the size. All right, that's about it. And they, one of them finished fourth in their nationals one year. It's like they won't be mistaken for real stunt planes, but then again, you don't put an awful lot into them. I got one just because I'm curious about it and to see what the heck the thing will do. So
yeah, I think
got a quarter-inch plate airfoil with flaps on it. That's all there is to it. So
it's I think the place where you have a lot of advantage from a thin airfoil is flying in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Flying in a wind. You think about a thin airfoil cuts through the wind, right? Mm-hmm. Well, a big fat airfoil is like a parachute. So anytime the plane goes into the wind, it's going to slow down tremendously. And anytime the plane with the wind behind it is going to shoot out, right? So, for example, in a wing over, just before the wing over, what does it do? It goes through the wind, right? So it slows you down over there just as it plows through the wind, and then you come upwind with low speed and you just kind of hang on for your dear life going wing over. Now if it's a thinner foil, we're just going to cut through it, maintain momentum and speed, and you just normal flying, right? Another thing you can notice is like on a four-leaf clover. So as you fly on a first of all, like on a first loop, maybe helps you because it shoots you out a little bit, right? But a thinner foil, especially on the top two loops, is going to help you because it cuts through the wind. Overhead aids can help you a lot. Hourglass is going to help you a lot, especially in the hourglass. As you come on that inverted climb, right? A thick airfoil is going to slow you a lot more than a thinner foil, which will just going to cut through the wind and maintain the momentum and the speed, and you can turn nicely. So I think generally design-wise, I would probably go I would favor the thinner foil. I think it's
the interesting thing is, for instance, the Legacy. The Legacy uses an NACA 0018, but that's not counting the flap on the back.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. If you count the flap on the back, and you're at about a 16%.
Mm-hmm.
I found that to be pretty much a rule of thumb. Is if on a stunt-sized airplane, when you put the flap on, you drop down about 2% on your airfoil thickness. So we're looking at 16%, then at the root, which is falling right in there where you like it. And if I remember correctly, it uses a 16% at the tip, but then you take and put the flap on there, you're down to 14. So it sounds to me like it's falling right into this same area that you like.
Yeah, and I would definitely use that airfoil. It kind of turns you to the back, and the flaps is kind of flat.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, so that when you have deflection, you have a nice clean flow on top on the outside of the wing, and you have the under camber on the a lot of under camber on the other side, which makes it very, very effective at very low deflections.
Of course,
So,
on that flat plate wing that Denny's talking about, if he could rig it up so that when it was going on a downline, he could have split flaps pop out to slow him down going downhill, perhaps it might kind of work better for him.
I think the split flaps work good because you're not stalling the flaps, right?
Right.
Because of the deflection, and you're not stalling it because you add some more mass of air on the top of it where you would otherwise stall, which kind of fills in that turbulent area, right?
Yeah.
Now, so I think that's why they work great on the big planes, because they have, But if you have issues like that with a normal plane, what we'll just do, I just put some turbulator right in front of the trailing edge of the wing.
We've talked about that. We've talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was referring to as a split flap trend was not where you have one side work like that, but where you're coming down line, they both go like that and act like a brake. It was kind of a joke to going down line on like a square maneuver.
Okay.
And as soon as you made your turn, it would come back in. And now you're back flying again. It was just a joke. It wasn't a very good one.
Okay, you lost me over there.
All right.
So who came in here?
Yeah. So we did, Dennis, we did talk about this last time about turbulators, how we use them and where we put them, right? And most people put them like right to the maximum thickness of the wing. And why would you turbulate the back of the wing, which is doesn't have any anything that requires turbulators, right?
Do you mean a turbulator or do you mean a vortex generator?
Vortex generator, whatever we want to call them. Some people put it like they use this zigzag tape, which is fairly thick. It kind of works the same way, right? And anyways, they're all like turbulators or vortex generator, what I want to call them. And somebody put some turbulators on the back, right in front of the rear windshield of a car, right? And before that, you could see the little strands that were taped to the back of the windshield. The strands, just were flopping all over the place. When they put the turbulators right in the front of the windshield, now all of those how do you say, kind of like a windsock, right? And they were all nice and straight. I mean, the airflow was sticking to the windshield itself, right? So, which kind of I'm thinking about in the same direction for our needs, right? So, what do you want to do? You want to you want the air to stick to your flaps at high deflection. So, if I'll put those turbulators or vortex generator, whatever, I just put them right in front of the flaps, not on the maximum thickness of the wing, and decrease the efficiency of the wing.
You say that, but they would activate at high deflection of the flap?
Yes.
Because we don't use that much deflection on the flaps, do we? I mean,
no, we don't. I don't see why would we use it. Yeah.
Is that considered high or?
Yeah.
Well, who's the new person in here with an airplane?
Oh, this is Bill.
Where?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's your name?
Bill. And my last name is Cool, if you can believe that.
Hey, Phil.
Oh, hey, Bill. I didn't see you.
That's cool.
Again. Now we got you. All right. Welcome.
Phil, the cool guy.
Man, you got yourself a black and everything. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Looks like he's got an airplane there with questions and.
It looks like he's in his own studio.
Yeah.
All right, Circus Prince.
This is called a prop buster. And it was, I got the plans a long time ago and started building it, and then it sat, and then I decided I'd put electric in it. So I got supposed to be an equivalent of a 15 glow and electric. And I've flown it some, but I flew control line when I was a kid, and I got into RC, and then quit for a while, and then I got back into RC sailplanes, and then I got into free flight, and but I want to try control line again.
Terrific.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, indeed.
Yeah, you can. Okay, why don't we tell him how to type his name in there so other people can see?
Okay.
Yeah. Name in. Are you on a computer with a mouse?
Yes.
Are you on a computer with a mouse? Yeah, just mouse down to the bottom right corner, and hover around, and 3 dots will pop up, and you can click those 3 dots. Sometimes you have to click a couple of times to make them pop up.
Okay.
And then there's a list of things you can do. Okay, and then all the way at the top, you can type your name in. It says, let's see.
It says me.
But it says.
Yeah, it says
Yeah,
me,
I think it says profile if your name. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, click there. Yeah, then you can type Bill in or whatever you want us to call you. I'm glad you made it.
Yeah.
I texted Sparky and we hit back and forth and finally got you in. And now it says Bill. Okay, we're good. Well, welcome to the Nut House, Bill.
Yeah.
Bill, where are you from?
Yeah, control line's big fun. If you ain't smiling when you finish flying a control line flight, then something's wrong with you. It's big fun.
Where are you out
These
of?
guys are.
I live in Winona, Minnesota.
Where are you from?
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Our main Minnesotan's not with us tonight.
Yeah. Whereabouts? You're from Minneapolis area?
Well,
Winona.
Oh, I know where Winona is.
Southeast corner.
Yeah.
We just made big news because they made that Super Bowl commercial with Winona Ryder was here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Welcome to Winona. Right.
Yeah.
So how did your prop buster fly for you?
Well, I balanced it to start with, kind of like a radio control, like a third back, and God, it was just so twitchy and that and stuff and whatever. And then I figured out that you had to have the CG way ahead in a control line, and I moved the battery I had, and then it was not so bad. But and then the first time I flew it, it was kind of windy, and I had like 60-foot lines, and now I got 52.
Mm-hmm. It might be too big for too long of a lines for the little plane.
I don't know. 50 sounds about right.
Yeah,
what's that? 50s, is that 52s? Is that feel right?
Why?
What do you think?
Wait a second. Why was I thinking? I was thinking 70 feet when he said 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was told, but 52 would be right.
No, you're fine. You're good. You're good.
You're good. That I don't know. It seems kind of fragile. I'm really afraid to crash it. I did one loop with it, and it went okay, but I'm really kind of afraid to try anything more violent than that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Bill, try balancing it around 18 to 19% of the wing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll find a happy spot there.
Yeah, and you'll probably have still a few more months of being able to play with the balance before the weather's ready to fly.
Well, now he's in southeast Minnesota.
Well, that's it. That is the.
I'm in southwest Michigan, and it's snowing out there right now. So, yeah, we got a couple more months of tinkering before we can try anything.
Yeah, I fly my RC, and I got one of those mitts and whatever, and that if it's about 30 degrees, but trying to hook up the clips and that and stuff with the lines and that, I want it warmer.
Smart man. Yes, definitely.
If you were 18, you'd be out there flying in the winter, but I think once you pass 40, then you kind of quit flying in cold weather as much.
Yeah.
Like
I
many
won't
things,
even.
them days are over.
Yeah.
I won't even go out on New Year's anymore.
And you live further
Just-
south than Steve.
I know it's just not worth it. It's like I don't want to go out there and have my hands all frozen. Every time I go out in the middle of winter and fly, I remember why I don't like doing that in the winter.
Everybody complains about California, but hey, I can fly all year round.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, last Monday here in Indiana, it was 57 degrees with 4-mile-an-hour winds, and it's like, why
Nice.
the heck ain't I out there? But
Yeah.
but then 2 days later, we had a 4-inch snowfall, and it all turned to ice. So that's where we're at now. We'll be there for a while.
Well, yeah, the sun came out here for the last couple days, and all the snow was melted off the roads, and my driveway was nice and dry. And I'm like, all right. 6 hours later, now it's snowing like a mother out
Snow
there.
like a banshee.
All right.
Yeah, we even got up to 50.
Yeah, don't believe what you see. February is the longest month of the year, not the shortest.
It's okay. I'm building. I got to get an airplane done for Joe Knoll.
Well,
That's
Good
good.
luck on that one.
What's that?
Well, if you're building, then all the time goes by. So
I said, good luck, Len.
I'll have it there. Don't you worry. It'll get done.
I know.
I've got the wing done. The fuselage is done, and all the fuselage is almost done, and the tails are all finished.
Yeah, about a week before the contest, you're gonna go, where in the hell did February, March, and April go?
No, I can hardly wait. What's going to happen? He's going to be driving over the border, and
Dope drying in the car.
the inspector's going to say, what's that smell? And Len's going to say, oh, it's dope.
Oh, no!
And that'll be the end of the Joe
That's
Knoll
the end of
adventure
that.
right there. Yeah.
No, the word is model aircraft paint.
What's that smell? Oh, it's water.
No, it's not. It's model aircraft paint.
Gotcha.
Tryon, you never found your airplane. I bragged you up last Monday and how nice it looked and all that, and now you just leave me hanging.
Who's this? Oh,
huh?
Tryon.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're just leaving me hanging now. I can't believe that. I was just bragging you up left and right.
Yeah, I think Steve was making up stories. I think that's all it was.
I look for it, man. I really look for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that plane. Has an elliptical wing construction. All the build of the wing, even though it's elliptical, it has geodesic. It's a geodesic wing construction, and the fuselage is kind of like elliptical, everything from nose to tail.
That sounds great.
So yeah, and kind of follows the philosophy I'm kind of going after.
Sure.
A little bit thinner airfoil. The elliptical wing should be just gorgeous in the air, and aerodynamically very sound. And the elevator, I pushed it up so it stays in clean air. And it's kind of the design was made for a kind of a balsa built plane, but also has some composites built into it. So it's not your classical balsa plane, even though it's nothing more complex than adding a carbon fiber tube in a tail versus a balsa stick over there. It's nothing to it. It's nothing out of the ordinary that's impossible to build or anything like that. So
yeah.
So that was kind of like, I was just kind of bored. I said, probably want to have something.
I wish I could find it.
Yes, me too.
So I've got another plane. It's a Goldberg Buster.
Oh yeah.
It's got a Fox 35 on it, and it's still in one piece. I started the motor up here the other year. It's got a Fox 35 on it. I haven't flown it yet. So how do you learn to fly like the pattern without busting up a bunch of airplanes, or is that just what you have to do?
Yeah.
Bust up a bunch of airplanes.
Well, be
Start
alert to
flying.
the fact that you may be busting up a lot of airplanes, but some people go right out, and they're rare, but some people go right out and fly it, and other people take forever. So, and yes,
Got
they
to
bust
start
airplanes. So,
right
What
away.
what can
They
you
can
do,
come.
Bill? Bill, what can you fly? What do you know how to fly? From
I mean, I flew this, this profile and whatever,
What maneuvers?
and I did wing overs and I did loops and they say to start out to just to try to fly it at a certain height and then fly it at a
no,
lower height and just get the feel of it and stuff. And I just,
Bill, stay away from that. Okay, don't even listen to that. Fly whatever is
Yeah, say
comfortable for you. The maneuvers are gonna come in place in time. They're gonna do like that. As soon as you start pushing your luck, that's when you're gonna crash it. If it's
yeah.
comfortable for you, do whatever is comfortable for you. That's it. That's as simple as that. Another thing I'll probably recommend is that since you know how to do what you already know how to do, try to start to fly inverted. Okay?
uh-huh.
Up goes towards the canopy, down goes towards the wheel, right? So
Right.
when you're inverted, if you're in trouble, you go towards the wheel, right?
well,
Yeah.
think about what you're going to do before you start.
Mhm.
So if you get panic, you say, "Hey, I'm going to give it down elevator and not up elevator." Things like that.
and
Well,
don't,
if you can fly
and don't
RC,
freelance.
can you
It's a,
fly
the simple
Don't
RC?
freelance.
the simple thing is if you can fly upright, if you can fly inverted, and if you can do a loop in either direction, you can do an entire stunt pattern. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a matter then of just keeping at it. So you
Yeah.
get, I mean, it's really fun. You get those fundamental maneuvers and control, and
Mhm.
everything just stacks on top of that. So
In my
Every time
opinion,
you take the plane out to fly, every time you take the plane out to fly, go out with a plan and don't deviate, don't freelance, because when you start making up stuff to do in the middle of a flight, that's when trouble comes too.
Mhm.
yeah,
one
don't
of the
go,
things,
hey, everybody, or here, somebody hold my beer, right? Yeah, don't do that. So,
Bill, one of the things that is helpful when you're beginning to try to learn inverted flight is learn how to do a lazy eight.
Okay.
And if you can do a lazy eight, and then as you get comfortable with doing it, don't try this the first time you do them. When you get comfortable doing it, extend that down line a little further. You know you're going to give down elevator to come out of the lazy eight on that side.
Yeah.
Eventually, you can extend it around a quarter of the circle or half of the circle, or eventually all the way around. You always know, though, to come out right side up, you give down because that's what you practiced.
yep.
That'll help you learn how to fly inverted.
Well,
Yep.
the one thing is too is I can tell you if you've flown a lot of RC and you can fly inverted and bring it in across the deck inverted and stuff like that, set your thumb up on top of the handle
Uh-huh.
and work your thumb like you're working a stick, and it makes it really easy to transition into
That's
that.
interesting. Yeah,
Thinking about
I buy that.
your brain just knows,
Well, you'd get hammered on Stunthangar for saying that advice, but yeah,
Yeah, but
whatever works.
none of these guys can fly RC. You know,
I can.
I can.
That's it.
That's true.
I was trying with my RC this summer to fly smoother, to try to do 3 loops and make them as round as possible, and try to get a little bit lower. But you've got a whole lot more room to work with
Oh,
than you
yeah.
do with control.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
Yeah, you
making it
can't
low.
get it
Try,
through
make,
the
try making it all the same height. If it's 10 feet or 12 feet off the ground, that doesn't matter. Just see if you can make the second one 12 feet off the ground and the third one 12 feet. That's a precision flying. All right.
Yeah.
If you can put the airplane where you want and do it on purpose, that's precision flying. And that's the next step past the basic maneuvers is put the airplane where you want it to be. So
Yeah. The reason for which I say that, since you know to do what you already know to do, to go inverted, is that because a lot of people, when they start flying, they fly just normal flight. and they never venture in going verti until very, very later in their flying career. And you can see them when they fly stuff. Inside it looks beautiful, and outside looks like crap. And it's such a disparity over there that it's very hard for them to get rid of that.
Yep.
And it's almost
they make all the insides nice and outsides too high all day long.
Yeah. And are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed. Okay. So when you try to do the lazy, it's kind of stop here, let the plane come across over here, and then turn it and come back with it in front of you, right? So your body kind of like stands still. So sometimes if you turn your body like this, you try to go and do too much movement like this, sometimes it can have some.
And then you get like me and you forget to walk.
Yeah.
It's like, shit.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of the questions to get to register. It asked where the AMA headquarters was, and I've been to Muncie the last 4 years for the free flight week, so I know very well where the headquarters are.
Right out by the road.
What free flight do you fly?
Oh, quite a bit. E-36 and rubber powered. I got a Gollywalk, and then I flew an event called Pee Wee 30, where you got a Pee Wee 020 on it with an eyedropper tank. And I like building. With the free flight, it's all about the adjusting and that.
You know how to trim an airplane when you're a free flighter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've seen some beautiful free flight planes that rubber powered and stuff like that. Gorgeous stuff. I'm just like,
And I just love going in the museum there at Muncie. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like, welcome to the party, pal.
That's it.
At our club's Christmas party, I picked up a free flight, a power free flight called Solon. You familiar with that one?
I don't think so.
It's an old classic free flight plane. And it's been around for a long time, in my understanding. I'm probably going to have to. The problem I always had with free flight, I mean, God love them. I know they know how to trim better than I can and things like that. But I just couldn't see when I was a kid putting my motor that I paid hard-earned money on my and putting it on an airplane and feel good when it flew away.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
This guy gave me a bunch of old Air Trails magazines. And, I was surprised how much those ignition engines were, It was like some of them were $20-something and the airplanes were like $2 or $3.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of money back then.
It was a week's wages or more.
Yeah, we got guys here now that they find them old free flight airplanes from, I don't know, 50s and 60s. They recover them. They put an OS 24 stroke on them. And setting they all out there sitting in a lounge chair, just putting around, just flying them. They'll fly for like a half an hour or so.
Oh, sure.
Till they get done. They get tired of flying and they bring them in and land them. But yeah, that's kind of the big thing now. Old guys sitting in lawn chairs flying.
Hey, we're not far from there. We're going to be there soon.
Hey, take my lawn chair and put a ball bearing on it. I'll be all set.
They're younger than me, so.
Steve, you seem to be the kind of guy for control line that would set a bar stool out in the middle and sit in it.
I'd like to try that.
I knew you would. I knew it.
You know what kind of got me interested in control line again? I was watching the videos of that. The guy from Minnesota, that was a professional clown. I know his first name is
Oh,
Sean.
Shug.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shug
sure.
Emery.
Yeah.
Shug
Yeah,
Emery.
Yeah, he's a character.
Yeah.
Talented too.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
I haven't seen
He
him.
is.
I haven't really seen him on Stunthangar doing a whole lot of stuff or whatever lately.
No, but you'll find him on.
Maybe when
You'll find him on the video. What is it called? Oh, come on! It's the one on the computer here.
YouTube?
No, it's not
YouTube.
YouTube. That
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of control line videos on YouTube, but Steve's right.
Yeah,
I thought he was more. He hasn't been too active lately. Hope we haven't. I hope he hasn't drifted off to something else. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's somebody I'd really wanted to meet. So
he still does a lot of performances, and
yeah.
he keeps a pretty steady booking of performances
He's
at
a
state fairs
busy
and
guy.
that sort of thing.
Yep.
And he also, his main YouTube thing is camping, hammock camping,
Yeah.
hiking and
cold.
camping too.
Backpacker.
Yeah.
He's a really busy guy.
Mm-hmm.
I really never see the need to walk up the side of a mountain.
That's so you can roll down the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Well, if you may borrow the thing, there's no place to set your bar stool when you get there. So
Yeah.
it's on the side of a hill. What do you do with that? So
It's a long way to carry it too.
Talk about flying model airplanes at high altitude. Do you know what the record is that I happen to know of? Is flying a combat ship at 10,000 feet.
really,
Yeah, that was Carl Shoup. Carl Shoup was driving back home into Colorado, and he went over this one pass that was like 10,000 feet, and they had a turnout there. So he pulled in the turnout, got his combat ship out, had his little self-launcher thing that he had on it, and flew a flight there at that 10,000 foot altitude. I don't think anybody's ever beat him.
I'll bet. I'll bet.
No, maybe not.
It was a half-wing combat ship, by the way.
You know, the bar stool deal, I thought about setting Samantha on a bar stool and making her fly. Because back when I was shooting trap, the coach would make us sit in a chair and shoot trap. Because everybody gets out there and they start dipping shoulders and their hips and all that. When you're sitting in a chair, you can't do that. And it makes you shoot the right way. And I thought about
The
that.
only problem is you can't trot backwards in the wind.
Huh?
Yeah.
The only thing is you can't trot backwards in the wind to keep the lines tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're in a chair.
Well, I don't know if the airplane would have enough pull to turn the chair for you.
No, you really have to like walk around it, or walk it around with your feet, or you have somebody turning you or something like that.
Yeah. But I kind of wondered about that, if that would help, because Samantha, a lot of times she got happy feet out there, and I don't know what she's got a lot better setting her feet and stuff like that, when she's doing her maneuvers. But there for a while, hell, her feet can be pointing this way or that way or cross or whatever.
Yeah, you gotta learn to stand and plant when you fly a maneuver.
Yeah, she had to get ahead
unless the wind's really.
Yeah, she had to get ahead of the airplane and then be ready for what was coming.
Mm-hmm.
But
when I was a kid, we had a guy come out and fly with us. He had that disease, where they break their bones real easy and they're all kind of crippled up kind of thing. And he spent his whole life in a wheelchair. And he had a good friend of his. He wanted to fly model airplanes. He'd build them and all that. And they'd come out to the flying field. He'd be in his wheelchair, and we'd get his airplane started up. We'd hold it, and his friend would wheel him out to the center. He'd pick up the handle, and his friend would turn his chair forward. And he knew the pattern well enough, so he knew when he went for the wing over, he would hold him and then bring him around real quick so he could be there, to pull it up. He flew the entire pattern, that kid did. I'm sure he's not alive anymore, because those people that have that disease don't usually live much past their 30s or 40s. But I was amazed. We flew 2 up combat one time with him. Him and the guy turned his chair, and we all got tripped up. We all wound up on the ground. The airplanes crashed, and we're laughing our full heads off.
I'll bet.
I'm lucky we didn't break any bones on him when we all fell down there.
Hey, John, were you at Rodak the year the guy in the wheelchair flew there in beginner?
I don't think I was. I don't remember seeing that.
But he had an electric wheelchair, and he'd actually turn that chair and then fly the airplane.
He had a little joystick on it, huh?
Yeah, and I mean, he flew. I think he took second, but he flew pretty good.
Yeah.
And he said, "I've never seen him. I never seen him again." But he wanted to learn. You know, he said he wanted to learn the full pattern. But
Carl Shoup got in an accident, and he would go and fly the full pattern in competition in his wheelchair, turning himself and flying the airplane. That guy was phenomenal, you know,
wow.
in his determination and his ability to stick to it.
It's amazing what you can do when you want it bad enough.
Well, yeah, he was a good guy.
You know, you mentioned flying off of a mountain. I've done some of that dynamic soaring with RC sailplanes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where you go across the ridge and that and fly in the back.
Yeah.
And I'd seen some videos where people had done control line flying that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting if you could get the right position, right length of line and stuff like that. You could have an unpowered control line airplane going. Well, what are they doing? Their record is something like it's like 400 miles an hour, isn't it?
It's like 550 now.
Wow. Can you imagine flying a control line airplane 500 miles an hour? I can't even imagine 200 actually. I've flown a rat racer at 140 miles an hour, and that's about as fast as I ever wanted to go. But
I remember Gordon Delaney at the 95 Nats. He was flying his big Gemini twin. That's the one I said it looks like a surfboard when it goes over, and it was just huge, paired with 235 OS 35Ss. Anyway, he ran out of fuel early before he finished the pattern, and so he just said the wind was blowing about 25 miles an hour plus, and so he just said after he got done, he just started wind flying it. And he's flying it back and forth, did a bunch of loops and that, and finished it up, did 3 or 4 square loops before he brought it in and land.
Huh.
One of the guys said, "That's got to be an old combat flyer to fly that thing in the wind like that."
Yeah.
It was amazing to see that big airplane wind flying.
Yeah.
Hey guys, check this out. I'm gonna put something for you.
Yeah, my brother was into slope soaring.
Okay, yeah.
They go there in Lake Michigan and fly off the dunes. And he did that a lot. And they were making faster and faster airplanes and mess around turning sharper in at the dune and stuff like that. And he messed up, and his plane ended up at the bottom of the dune.
Yeah.
He said it took him about 2 minutes to get down there and 45 minutes to get back up. He said, no more playing around to see how close you could turn by the fan and doing all the fancy stuff. He said, I learned my lesson one time.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, check this out. I'm gonna share a YouTube video.
Okay.
Bad suck down on that. 502. 545. 536.
Who keeps muting me?
I lost all my set. Is it that?
511. 522. 527. How's it feel? Great.
Hello?
I can hear you, Steve. Can you hear me? I hear you, Steve.
It keeps muting my mic for some reason. I can't see anything, Brian.
Load. No way.
Okay, Tryon, you seem to be muted.
Yeah, I put a link here in a comment section for that video if you want to watch it on your own or whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still have the YouTube square up on my screen. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess if you watch it from YouTube, you might have a much better resolution and stuff like that. But that it's just, you can see flashes of the plane. I mean, it just at 500 miles per hour, it's kind of hard to keep track of it on a video.
Yeah.
The stream stopped as soon as the video started, so I don't think the YouTubers will get that.
Mm-hmm.
I got it restarted now.
I'm coming out tonight. I got to run. Thank
All
you.
right.
All right.
Take it easy, Dennis.
All right.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
take it easy, Dennis. Thanks for coming.
Take care.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the sack too. I have a long day tomorrow.
Yeah, same thing with me.
Yeah, so
My
Everybody's
back.
grilling.
Now they're all leaving. We can talk about them, Dennis.
Yeah.
well,
That's it.
hey,
Well,
nice.
that's it. You know, if Dennis is going to be here and I'm going to be here, we're going to have to come up with a protocol. I guess, you know, I'll have to be Denny or something like that. You can be Dennis. Heaven forbid anybody else shows up.
Well, I've always called you Denny.
That's it. I appreciate that. So.
Well, Bill, Len, John,
All right, Trent.
Steve, Rob, Danny.
Find that airplane.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
If I find it, I'll find it. Yeah. Good night, guys.
Take
Good
it
night.
easy, Tryon.
Take care.
Good night.
Yeah, I'm out of here too.
Yeah.
All right, Steve.
Okay, Steve.
I
Thanks
need
for
to
hanging out with us.
Yeah, I need to do
Man, this is quite a crowded show tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We got a new person, you know, Bill, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Only I see it looks like Bill was. It looks like he's kind of checked out now too. So.
Yeah, I think
Looked
he's
like he
gone.
stepped away.
I think he'll be back.
He might
Yeah,
go get
Yeah.
something else for show and tell.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. We had some nice show and tells there. That I'm definitely going to watch that RC speed record again.
There, he's back.
Yeah.
He hasn't
There
completely
he is.
left.
No, Bill's here.
Well, it'll be easier to talk now that we don't have 10 people stepping on each other.
Yeah, and help him out a little bit more. Well, I'm
Bill
leaving.
trying to
Bill.
do
It was nice meeting you. Hope to see you back on another time.
Okay.
See
Take
you
it
guys.
easy,
Good night,
Steve.
Steve. Good night,
Take
Steve.
care, Steve. Take care of yourself, will ya?
Yeah, I was gonna tell everybody I got to get off because my face hurts, but I remember the old joke.
Yeah, it's killing me too.
So, see ya.
And what joke is that, Steve?
Good night, Steve.
We're
Night.
bad.
Click it out while you're ahead.
Good night, Steve.
Good night, Steve.
Oh well.
Oh
Bill,
boy.
we don't have much reverence for each other, as you can tell.
Oh,
We
yeah.
keep this up. We might scare Bill away here. I hope not. But,
We don't want to scare you away, Bill, but
I want to
he
scare
looks
him
to me
away
like
on his first night. What the heck? So,
well, he looks to me like he's a guy who can handle himself.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's
What
it.
we do around here.
Mhm.
Poke a
Hey,
little
Bill, is
fun.
this the first time you've ever watched our show? Or have you been seeing us before tonight?
I have watched it a little bit, but
We have our moments and some pretty good times, and sometimes it gets a little dry, especially when these guys start talking about mathematics and aerodynamics and turbulators and stuff.
Yeah.
And electrics, right? And electric motor select. Yeah, that dragged on a little bit, but
It's all
I
right.
don't
It's good for. It's good if it's getting somewhere. It's good.
Well, we
Well,
talked
they-
about
I
glow
find the
engines.
electric interesting.
We talked about glow engines last week, and Denny fell asleep.
That's
Yeah,
it.
see?
That's
See?
it. They're talking about
that's-
what the heck, you know?
See, we talk
Oh.
glow engines. Dennis falls asleep. We talk electrics, and I fall asleep. What a great
That's it. All right. So
I
I don't
had
know.
trouble with my electric at first. It would only run for about 5 seconds or so, and then it'd keep cutting off if you had a propeller on. If you took the propeller off, then it would run. And I ended up having to send it back. I don't know. The guy claimed that it worked okay for him, but there had to have been something wrong.
Sounds like it. Did you have too big a prop on it, or
No,
no?
there was just something wrong with it, or the other.
Yeah, there's probably a couple of things I could think of that might have happened, but I don't know. It's all speculation. But
It's pretty amazing how that controller works, how it can sense when it's pulling harder and give it more power, or less when it's going down. And
yeah. Yeah, well, guys, I hate to be. I'm going to bail out on you guys too. Got
Gonna go to
grandson's
sleep.
second basketball game tomorrow, so
You want to be awake for it.
well, I got to be cheering. I got to be loud and everything like that. You know how shy I am, so
Yeah, shy.
yeah, whatever.
Well,
Yeah, we
let's
know
call
how
it a
shy
night.
you are.
All you,
okay.
All right.
Thanks everybody for coming. Y'all were a great show tonight, and thanks Bill for joining us. Good to have a new member.
Yeah.
Indeed. Thanks
all
for the
you
show and tell.
out there, yeah,
Thanks, Rusty.
yeah. Anybody that brings show and tell's welcome. All you tubers out there, thanks. Y'all carried on a pretty good conversation out there, and so y'all have a great weekend. Do something fun. Come back and tell us about it, and we'll see you again on Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Okay.
That's it.
And it's
All right.
all right.
All right, guys.
And
Good night.
Good night. Have
Good
a good one.
night.
Good night.